Welcome everybody. We're already in open, so we'll just get moving along. Great to have a big crowd here, and I know we got some good presentations, so we'll get moving along and get to them as soon as we can. Not that you do much gardening out there today or anything, anyways. Although there's some gardening being done, I seen it. So welcome everybody. That's just in case I run out of power. Regular council. Wow. Moving Deputy Mayor Faulkner, second by Councillor Dirksen, the minutes of the May 16, 2017 council meeting be approved. All in favor? Great. And have one. No, I got one right here. Okay. Additional items. Ron, you have one?
Yes.
Okay. Everybody's got one pretty well. One. Dave. I'll have one.
Judy?
Judy? Anybody doesn't have one?
I don't.
Well, you have a half an hour or so to come up with something.
Okay.
So both of you.
Half an hour.
Or maybe a little bit longer. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
maybe
the
a day.
summers are anything up good enough?
Yeah.
Anything that should be
Resolution.
I don't have one.
Moved by Councillor Turton, second by Councillor Anderson. The town of Minto Council convenes into committee of the whole. All in favor? Okay.
Put the air on.
Are you a little hot, Bill?
I don't know.
Okay, we have a public meeting. And where's my public meeting stuff here? It's right here.
That's till 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock.
Oh, sorry, we have to do that at 5. That's right. We have delegations. That's where I wanted to get to anyways, right there. And welcome. We have delegations today, and I think, are you going to start it off with the mayors? Are we going to you're going to start off and then bring the groups up? Oh, the groups are coming right up? Okay, who wants to go first? Wayne, you're on that end. Did you want to?
They're first on. Oh no.
Yeah, I'm representing the.
Oh, sorry.
You have to come up here.
I'm. Hang on. Oh, yeah, no, that's right. That's right. What do you got? Yeah, all right.
Don't be shy, Wayne.
Wayne's coming. So what we got going here is we've got all the groups that are going to be in the Mayor's Golf Tournament this year. Going to give us a little bit of a spiel about their groups that they're representing. So thanks for coming, Wayne.
It's on.
They didn't used to work when
Am I supposed to wear? Am I supposed to wear this now, or?
No, it's just no. That's what the
That's what they're
local
gonna
team
get.
did Saturday.
Okay. Oh, is that right? I didn't know about that. Congratulations.
Anyway, I'm representing the Palmerston Imperial ball team, and between the town of Minto and the Imperials, we're hosting the first Canadian Fast Pitch Championship for kids that are 14 and under. So that's going to happen August 9th to the 13th in Minto here. So in terms of funding it, we sent a budget of $15,000 into Softball Canada in our proposal to host this. And I think it's fair to say without the town of Minto's support, we probably wouldn't even have applied. Anyway, that's history, and it's working out fairly well. So as of last Wednesday, right now we have 7 teams from out of province coming, and there will be 4 from Ontario. So we're actually looking for another team as part of it. The sponsorship, being part of the Mayor's Tournament, will help pay the expenses, hopefully, and we'll go from there. But overall, it's kind of a tourist opportunity the way it's turning out, way beyond what we expected to have that many teams from out of province. We'll know tomorrow if they've all paid their money and are confirmed to come. So
Excellent.
we have a meeting with the town here in a week or so, and we'll have all that information in front of us. The other thing I'd like to say, like just generally, is the sponsorship around the Mayor's Tournament and around the Canadians has been phenomenal. So we're really encouraged by that. It kind of keeps you going each day, and we thank everybody for being part of the Mayor's Tournament.
Any questions for Wayne? No. Oh, there's a question.
Well, there are
Sorry,
questions.
Wayne. You got a question?
Sorry, Wayne, did you work out housing? Have you got housing for all the teams?
What happened was, like, you designate local accommodation, and it's still an issue. So what's happened is we met with Tavistock, who run the Junior Canadians for men, and they use Wilfrid Laurier University. So in that, it'll take some of the pressure off the teams traveling in financially if they choose to use it. The other good thing about it is we get a kickback on it, a certain amount per night per day.
Mm.
Thanks, Mayor Bridge. Wayne, so if you go with 11, or if you get an extra team, what's the difference, 11 or 12?
Yeah, what they'll do there is they'll divide it into a group of 6 and a group of 5. So it makes it actually better for us.
With 2 pools.
So how many Ontario teams would be able to just fill up to 11 then? Is that the idea?
There's Ontario, what happens is the provinces put in for what they think they can support to be in at that level. So Ontario put in 4 because it's in Ontario. What happened was Softball Canada asked our team and our organization to send a letter out to each province to try and help Softball Canada promote the Pee Wee age group because this is the second year for it. So it looks like it's reaped some benefits.
Great. Interesting.
Thanks. Good luck.
Oh, sorry, Ron.
Wayne, it's going to cost for people to come in to watch the ball games. How much do you expect that'll be? And
Yeah, the week pass is $20. Okay, so there's 5 days of ball. The organization actually starts on a Tuesday. We have to host a party. We have to host umpires meetings, coaches meetings, and all that kind of stuff. And the daily cost is going to be $5. That's kind of a question I'm getting a lot is what do you anticipate? I have no idea. I know based on eliminations from last year, what we got, the turnout was pretty good. So what we'll get for this event.
so do you have backup for rain delays, days off?
Yeah, what we've done is working with the rec guys in the town. We have Harrison booked and we have Clifford booked if we get into weather problems. The other thing is some of the other problems teams will want to practice. So if we get bottlenecked on the Tuesday, we'll be using those parks also.
Very good. Good. Certainly we'll put Minto on the map.
Let's hope so.
Yeah.
Not quite as much as the pawing match, but
No.
softball we're
Fine, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. You had to bring that up. Anticondition, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
And it was so funny because we sat, Mary Lou and I, and Ron, were you at that table too? You were just
We're the
Didn't
next.
see
next table over at Federation of Canadian Municipalities. We sat with our friends from there in
And
Nova
finish
Scotia.
and Truro.
And Truro, but I didn't realize they were coming, or I would have had a great
Yeah.
conversation. So I will reach out to them now. I know.
actually what's happening is they identify themselves as a region.
Mhm.
So the guy that called me was in Winnipeg because he works for the national softball program,
Mhm.
and he said actually this is where we're coming out of.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
we're still waiting to see if there's any confirmation on it, but they're going to drive in. So there's a request for camping.
Yeah.
So we can accommodate a certain amount of the park.
Mhm.
That kind of stuff.
Good. Excellent.
Oh, good.
Great.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Excellent.
Of our youth,
Mm. Well, I used to go there.
welcome.
Inventory. Stellarton.
Stellarton?
No, Stellarton? I stayed here for
Hi, I'm Ken Mole representing Youth for Christ, Youth Unlimited in the town of Minto, or in Minto.
Mhm.
And YFC Youth Unlimited in Minto exists to serve the communities of the town of Minto. That's probably pretty obvious, but our focus is the youth, but our ultimate goal is that our community as a whole will be strengthened through our work with youth. The vision statement of the town of Minto is a friendly, safe, affordable, family-oriented rural community built on a foundation of respect, volunteerism, and prosperous business, and sustained by people who value neighborliness, fairness, and inclusiveness. Well, this encapsulates so well what we at Youth Unlimited are trying to achieve as well. We want to build relationships of mutual respect with our youth and inspire them to have relationships of mutual respect with each other. We too appreciate our volunteers, and in fact, we cannot do much without our volunteers. And we too want to promote neighborliness, fairness, and inclusiveness. The motto for Youth Unlimited is that we see the hope and potential in every young person, And I'm sure that all of us feel this way. And I think that we can all agree that we should never give up on our youth, even those who seem intent on being disruptive and or seeming to want to bully other youth. And for the volunteers of Youth Unlimited and staff such as myself, we feel that we have been called to devote time and energy to our youth, especially to those who may live in difficult home situations and to those who are struggling with being an adolescent. We want to be able to welcome them in a place that is safe and where they can feel at home. And we want to let them know that they are valued and to inspire them to realize their potential. Our desire is to offer safe places for Minto youth to gather and enjoy spending free time with their peers. One of our long-term goals is to provide weekly drop-ins for youth, not only in Harrison, but in Palmerston and Clifford as well. We also are offering a summer camping experience, especially for the youth who may not have this opportunity. Another goal that we have is to help in the schools of Minto where volunteers are needed. And this could consist of helping out in sports programs, for example, helping to coach, or assisting resource teachers, basically wherever a screened volunteer would be helpful. We are grateful for the opportunity to be a part of the Mayor's Charity Golf Tournament. While the financial support that it will be offered is great, it is also a great opportunity for us to get to know other youth organizations in Minto. It also helps us to get to know volunteers and other organizations who help to make this a great community. Minto Youth Unlimited will use half of the proceeds received from the Mayor's Charity Golf Tournament to fund the programs we offer for youth, such as the expenses for updating equipment at the upper deck and for holding special events there at the upper deck or elsewhere. We'll also use the proceeds toward rental of a drop-in space in Palmerston, for example, the Norgan, for the time being, or for financial assistance for youth who would like to go camping with Youth Unlimited, and for rental fees for sports facilities. The remaining half of the proceeds will go towards upgrades of the upper deck building regarding fire safety as per the suggestions of the Minto Fire Prevention Officer. That is, installing fireproof drywall throughout the building, because most of it's paneling now, and installing fire-rated doors. And I'm pleased to be able to note that the exterior doors have been upgraded. We hope to complete these upgrades within the next 2 to 3 years. Minto Youth Unlimited is committed to providing a service to this great community. We, that is, the volunteers and I, believe that we can fill a niche in our community by providing a safe place for our youth, by providing a listening ear, by serving our youth and inspiring them to find their place in our society. We are greatly encouraged that the Council of the Town of Minto believes this as well and has shown confidence in our ability to make a difference in the lives of our youth. So we thank you for this fundraising opportunity. We thank you for this opportunity to meet so many people, so many of the great people that make up the town of Minto and the surrounding communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Well done. Any questions? Well, you laid that out so perfectly. I mean, that's super, eh? Yeah, that's very good.
Excellent.
And yeah, up to good work. And last but not least, we have Todd. I know. Well, yeah, good one.
Don't do
You'll
that.
get some press.
Oh my God, we have the media here.
Yeah, we got the media now. Mike's on that.
We'll keep it clean. Well, thank you for having me. I'm proud to represent the Minto Safe Community Committee today. I look around and Mary Lou was on our committee way back in 2009 when we started, and we're still rolling. So, and we've accomplished quite a bit, I think, through the years. I'll just highlight a few things that we've done. Way back around that time, we initiated the Road Watch program in the town of Minto, which is still up and running and keeping our roads safer, I hope. We also initiated the Vial of Life program, which a few of you may be familiar with. It's putting your prescription and your medical information in a pill bottle in your freezer for first responders. If they come to your house, they can get some information if you aren't able to speak. So that's been a good program for some of our older residents of the town of Minto. Through the years, we've been very youth oriented as well. We've had various contests, poster contests. We just completed a video contest, a distracted driving contest countywide, where the high school kids made some videos.
Yeah.
So we're just viewing them now. So that was successful. We supported our 3 local food banks from the town of Minto for numerous years. And probably how we got to be known the best was our youth dances that we had at the Harrison Legion for 6 years. They were quite successful. Now we've kind of turned it over to another youth group
That's good.
to run them. So
Yeah.
through that, we ended up raising about $9,000 through those 6 years. That all went back into the community. So we're pretty proud of that. So here we are today. We're a recipient of the mayor's golf tournament. So what we're looking to do is to expand a little bit more on some of the youth programs. We always participate in the Safe Kids Day in Minto every year. We just had it last month. And what we do there is we provide a bike rodeo for the grade 4 kids. So we did that again this year. A boy and a girl walk away with a new bicycle every year, as well as some other good prizes. So we want to keep that going. The Minto Optimist actually used to do bike rodeos, so we kind of took that over from them. We're looking at an idea for some t-shirts for kids, kind of a anti-bullying theme and maybe a positive message on it. So we're kind of throwing around some ideas for that. We'd like to continue with our video contest as well, maybe expand that again next year. And I don't know if you saw the new Kinsman shirts.
Yes, they
Here's
were
the
in.
Kinsman
Yes,
shirts.
yes.
See those? They're pretty nice.
Pretty nice.
sharp.
So we're thinking about maybe some new shirts to make us maybe more identifiable. They look pretty sharp, so that's a good idea that they had.
Mhm.
So that's some of the things that we're gonna plan on spending the money on. It would be well used, and we always shop local, and the money goes back into the community. So
Great.
I thank Janet and Mr. Mayor, your committee, for the mayor's tournament. We're working hard to make it a success
I
again.
look forward to seeing you there. Any questions, Mary Lou?
Yes, through you, Mayor Bridge. Todd, that I'm one of the older people that has the vial of life. in my freezer. And I'm just wondering if the program is still alive, like where people could get the vials.
At all the pharmacies, Palmerston, Harrison, I believe the doctor's offices too, like Dr. Clarko's offices, pretty much any doctor's office or the pharmacy. I believe they had them at the hospital too. So, and if in doubt, Don Senek's got all of them.
And his basement. That's right.
His phone number is.
Yeah, do you want it?
Right now, he has no room in his freezer for meat.
Yeah,
All I
he
can
stores
say.
them all in
He's
his
storing them all down there in his freezer. So, anybody else? Good. Well, thank you very
Good
much,
stuff.
Todd. We'll see you at the game.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Todd.
And now, Mark, they have the Harrison Historical Society. And are you coming up, or is everybody coming up, or we'll get you more chairs? Just Mark. Oh, the girls are saying just Mark. Okay. But you may want to introduce everybody.
Sacrificial.
First of all, I'd like to,
Oh, yeah, we have to get that mic on.
first of all, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank the council for hearing our matter today.
Yeah.
And there are quite a few members that couldn't come due to the time frame,
Mhm.
but Will and Sharon are
Yeah.
here to as backup in case
Yeah.
I have to add more to my presentation. So,
Sure.
Can you
you
use
do
the
have
mic?
it in your
Mic
package.
there.
Mark, can you use the mic?
Mark?
Because I don't think people can hear you
Is
back
it
there.
on even?
don't
Yeah,
know.
it should be on. Yeah, that's good.
That
Yeah,
one was, I think.
yeah, try that one. Make sure
You
it's
do
on.
have our presentation.
Yep. Mhm.
You've read it. I can go through it briefly if you wish, which I think I should, and we can ask questions later. So it's been a pleasure the last few years to work for the town of Minto to preserve and display our local heritage. It is important service to our residents and visitors. Preserving our municipal heritage is part of council's master cultural plan and should be kept. Our home in the library since 2012 has certainly been a bonus for us, and the exposure to and the space to meet our mandate. Our inventory, collection of memorabilia and records show the increased public interest. Since our incorporation in 2010, there have been over 6,000 visitors to our display room. And last year alone, we had 125 requests for local and family history information. While we work hard to fundraise, it is becoming more difficult to reach our target of over $4,500 per year to keep our doors open. We thank those businesses who donated on an annual basis, but they have limits also, especially in a small town with numerous groups requesting donations. Attached, what you have is a copy of our financial status. And as you can see, we do fundraise to cover our operating costs as part of, but with the rent, it's becoming more increased difficulty. Just as a note of interest, there are numerous municipalities in the area that offer free space to their history groups. We are not here to ask for that. We would ask council to review our agreement and consider lowering our rental responsibilities that we may continue to serve the public and the town of Minto in history preservation. We thank you for your time on this matter, and we are open to questions.
Okay. Questions? Ron?
Mark, what kind of dollars do you think your group could handle if you were looking at it?
We're raising between $1,200 and $1,500 a year to cover our expenses where we are, and we have been getting sponsors and donations to help with the rent, and it's been okay for a while. You guys helped us out when we started with the golf tournament. That's gone, of course, but we do work to do it. But it's a small town, and we just can't. The businesses can't support everybody. We're getting to the point, I would think, if you look at the statement there, that I would say in another year we won't be able to meet our obligation with the $3,300 a year rent that we pay there. So we're asking for some relief or some assistance. If you would consider it, we'd certainly appreciate it.
What dollars do you think you'd get to?
Well, the difference is we try to raise some of it. We could, I don't know what the figure would be.
Half of that?
If I say something and we don't raise it, then we're back here again.
I know. It would give us a better thought.
Well, we have $3,300 to raise, and we can raise some of that, but with our obligated operating of around $1,400 to $1,500, it's 33 on top of that's tough for us. And we want to keep, and I'm sure you do too, you want to keep the heritage and history of your town preserved and alive and displayed.
Any other questions? And as you may or may not remember, that this is actually a county building we're in.
Yes.
And Mark knows that because Mark was actually a member of the library, the chair of the library board when we got this all put together. And and it's a great facility, and I mean, I spend quite a bit of time up there, and I appreciate all the work that our two young ladies at the back have done for many of the displays, and I always look forward to the next one they put in. You do a lot of hard work on it. I'm wondering whether if we look into it, and we brought it to our attention, that maybe this is an opportunity, because unfortunately or unfortunately our lease with the county's up as well. I can't believe 5 years is up, Mark, but it's up. So and they've increased our rent so to the facility, which they normally do in all their facilities on a 5-year basis. So we're actually looking at more subsidy possibly on this. But can we maybe, and my thought, maybe the council can change what they want to do, but I was thinking maybe we could sit down with the group, with our some of our staff, and try to work some strategies out.
Yeah.
If that makes sense at this point in time. I think what you wanted to do today was to show where you are as far as your finances go, which I believe, and it's a good timing in the sense we have another 5 years to negotiate a lease and where we're going with the lease and what we can do. So would that make sense, Bill, if we could sit down with some of our staff, and maybe I could sit in on that if that's all right with the crew here, and try to come up with some strategies to help, because what you don't have in here is the number of man or people hours that you guys put into the facility and all that. I mean, you don't get paid. There's no curator. We don't have a museum that way. We're working in some of our areas with that. So I'd like, there's other groups up there too. So we have to look at the whole overall strategy. So would that be sufficient for now for us to do that, and then maybe come back with a report?
Mr. Mayor, I like the idea of you going back and negotiating to help, because I think it's important. I think we have to have this happening in our community. They do a great job, and quite often, if you look at other communities, we pay people, or they pay people to run these. These people were asked not to pay to run it. It's kind of a reverse, and it's great that they would take that on. So if we can negotiate and help them stay alive and stay above water, I think we should.
Yep.
And
So-
sooner than later.
Well, I understand that, and let's maybe get back, hopefully, in not the next meeting, but maybe even the first one in July, if we, depending how much. I don't want to put too much pressure on the staff. They got a lot of this stuff going, but and then we have to get together, so it might be tough to do it in 2 weeks, but we'll, if not, we'll try to do it in a timely manner.
Certainly, we could meet at your convenience and.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. I think that's the best way to go.
I don't even know if we've billed. Are you paying?
Pardon me?
I'm not sure the status of the account. Have you paid the rent or?
Yes, we are.
Oh, so
Yeah, I don't know where we are as far as rents go at
We
this
are
time.
current with our
Yeah,
with our
we're current. Yeah, I
obligations.
think it's monthly, isn't it? Do we do
Yes.
monthly? Yep. Okay, so we'll try to get something organized. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. I also like to thank Bill White for sending the budget figures and just going through them.
Mm-hmm.
Although they're not a full year, I can just see that there are concessions you do give to other groups, and so please take that into consideration.
Well,
when
and
you do that.
we're in a town-owned position there too, so that's a little difference with this being county. And but having said that, and Mark will be attest to this, the county put a lot of capital into that building, so I don't mind paying the rents that we have to pay, because they certainly didn't have to finish the third floor, and they did a great job. And I know even on top of what they did, you got some Trillium grants and you put some more capital expenditures in as well. So we got lots of stuff invested here. So let's see what we can come up with as far as.
Hopefully the rent we pay does help depreciate the capital cost for that county, and I don't know why they keep increasing it, but
that's the nature
way
of the business.
is today.
Yeah. Well, I think they've done that. That's been very consistent across the board on all their libraries, anywhere they've had it. And I can't go against that, because every other town has done it and they paid it. So.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you. Yes.
Yep. Judy?
Just wanted to clarify. So the county sends us a bill for this rent, and we just pass it on as is?
No. If and I'll bring that in the report, Judy. But right now we subsidize quite heavily the rent. I believe, Gord, you know that figure offhand? 20-some thousand.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So I think that's why I think that was the previous council, and I want to make sure this council is aware of all this.
Okay.
And Mark knows the numbers. So
Okay.
I want to
just
make
didn't know
sure.
what the number was.
Yeah. I'll get
Okay.
that'll be in the report. We'll work that out.
Okay.
Fair enough?
Thanks.
Good. Yep. Good.
Good job.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
Where's that Anderson guy? Where's that Anderson guy?
Mark,
Won't be here till after
Looks like he's hurting.
or knee.
Is Dave doing it
after 5.
after 5? Okay.
I missed that.
All right. So. Oh, public question period. Has anybody got a? Oh, Mark's got a question. Go ahead, Mark. Yeah. Come on up here. Come on. No, you have to come up here.
Oh, you have to
Yeah.
come up.
Well, we're on the blower here. Everybody watches this. There's thousands of people watching.
Well, as a ratepayer, it's the first time I've came here with
Yeah.
with an issue.
Yeah.
I have done it before as a counselor, but
Right.
today it's an issue. So I got a real concern, and with the caretaking of our cemetery. I don't know if you know about it or who's monitoring it, but it's depreciated somewhat, and it's not. I don't think it's acceptable to me or
Yeah.
any of my family.
Well,
What's happening down there?
and it's a good point, and we've had many calls on it. So, Bill, did you want to give an update for the council?
Have
Because
you
we're all
been in, when were you last in, if you don't mind me asking, because
I was there last week,
last week-
Thursday or Wednesday or Thursday. I was there.
Okay. We'll have another look at it. We have a new contractor there. There was a lot of rain, and the time they were up, they weren't able to do it, but none of the staff was happy with the work that was done.
Mhm.
I went and saw it Wednesday, and they were cutting and weed eating that day, so it was looking a lot better. But if you were in after that and it still wasn't good, then we'll go have a look again anyway and see. But it was better last Wednesday. Not perfect, but We're keeping an eye on it for sure.
Thank you. You know, there's something going on there that's not acceptable, and
Yes.
hitting monuments and things like
Yeah.
that are not.
Yeah, and
Oh, man.
it's
so
awful.
we've had lots of, I've had calls. Everybody's here had calls, but thanks for the again. But
Thank
we're
you.
we're
Appreciate that.
hopefully on top of it.
Yeah, that's good to hear.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bart.
There you go. Okay. No, there was only, I think there's one I found it today. So not necessarily a monument, but a corner piece. Or something that I knew
Yeah,
about. Jim Richardson talked about it.
one of his pieces was missing.
It's missing.
One of the four corners.
One of the markers. So, well, I don't know what it exactly was, but we'll get into it.
This is Justin Hairston.
I believe
Yes.
so.
Do we have the same caretakers in the other main
Yes.
cemeteries?
I've been through them all, and they're okay.
We
They need work.
if it doesn't improve, we'll be getting back to you on.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But it's a change, and sometimes changes take a while. And the weather hasn't cooperated very well either. So
Everybody's
give
grass
them-
is a little bit longer this
Yep.
spring.
Okay, correspondence. Any questions? Any of the correspondence?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
if I may.
Yep.
I think John Nader's bill C-45.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should be crafting a response to that one, and that was his opinion on, because C-45, of course, is the legalization of cannabis, and there's nowhere in there does it identify the responsibilities or the abilities for local municipalities to put input into that. So I think we have an obligation to respond to that.
Were you able to take any of the sessions in at FCM? Because there was a couple on it.
Yeah, I was in on the one.
I wasn't
for
able
sure.
to, but I know FCM. It's a big concern with FCM, which Federation of Canadian Municipalities, because we feel, it's just like John has pointed out in his letter, we feel that a lot of this cost could end up coming down on us.
Well, that's right.
And,
That's my concern.
So
for sure.
so I think if we craft something on this bill, we can send it to FCM as well.
Average, if I could, through you, I guess I would like to bring a report back. You
Okay.
may recall I did
See you guys.
some basic information about what happened in Denver, Colorado after
Mhm.
Correct.
legalization in that
Yep.
state, and it was not all positive by any means. So this will fall upon local municipalities to implement in a number of ways. Leasing one, location licensing for others. So I know that they do not have solutions for those things yet, but I would like to bring something back and pull together, because I have not looked at the legislation that they have passed to see whether we can glean anything out of that yet. But I could bring something back next meeting.
Would that be?
That'd be great. And CO White, if I would really appreciate being part of that comment or crafting of those comments, simply because I have a fair bit of experience in that area.
Oh, you can run by.
Mary Lou.
Mary Lou?
I also would like to show support for number L, the municipality for East Ferris, for the tax exemptions for local officials.
Did we do something
We
on
did.
that? I thought we did one on that.
Have we done it?
I think so. I might be wrong, but we talked about
I know
it.
we talked about it.
Yeah,
Did we ever do anything on it?
I don't think so.
I'll look into it, Mayor Bridge, and I can bring back a
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
response on
we
that.
did responded to John Nader only.
Maybe.
That's what we did.
Okay. Well, yeah. I think should we do that? Then have Bill bring back a.
Well, or show our support in some way that stand behind that we feel the same way.
Mayor Bridge, if you could
Yeah.
do a motion that we bring back further information on the two items, and that we support the one, if we haven't done so already, then I can do that.
Moved by Councillor Caldwell, second by Deputy Mayor Faulkner. All in favor? Okay, good. Yep. Anything else? Oh, can we have somebody move the correspondence then? Councillor Turton, Councillor Elliott, all in favor? Good.
Mayor Bridge, I did, if I may, just briefly, item 11J on the changing workplace. Remember, we did a report on that maybe a year ago, within the last year, and we talked about how things might be changing. Well, here they filed their report. Now, there is no legislation yet, but there's a number of concerns out there about how that might impact workplaces. The focus is on vulnerable workers, which,
Right.
generally speaking, I wouldn't identify town employees as such, but We still need to be careful because it could have implications on our operations as well.
What do you want to do?
That's fine. Just a note.
Yeah. I was pleased to see the response to proposed building codes septic tanks, by the way, which we again sent something on, and they have listened, and they realize that that's an overzealous approach.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that. So should we ever send back saying thank you for listening to us? Should we
I don't
just send
know.
them a note?
He had that one line in there that.
Well, that one line.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that way anyway.
Oh yeah, I noticed that. So yeah, let's not do that.
No, you weren't.
Yeah, really. Until you got a bunch of people blowback, right?
Yeah,
Is that what you're thinking?
that's what I thought. Yeah.
The Donald Trump response.
Anyways, okay. Reports, minutes, committee minutes, recreational. Sorry.
Cultural roundtable.
Oh, culture roundtable first.
Okay, so I'll just zip quickly through the highlights of our cultural roundtable last meeting and the end of May. We hosted the Northern Wellington Youth Connections event in May. That was a partnership with Wellington North, Mapleton, the 3 Youth Action Councils, the Workforce Planning Board, and the 2 high schools in our areas. And it was close to 200 or just over 200 youth grade 10 students attended, and it was a long day, and we got some feedback from the kids about what kinds of activities and things they want to see in our community. And we're getting some more feedback right now from the schools and the kids, and we'll be putting together some action plans for these, or we won't be. The action councils, youth action councils, will be putting together action plans for future. The museum stuff continues to move along well, and I would invite you to come this Saturday. We're having a special event where we're showcasing volunteer opportunities at the museum, as well as recognizing Dr. Carl and Viola Hometh for the library that they donated a bunch of books, like 900 books and bookshelves. So come and check out that, as well as the farmers market. It's from 9 till 12, and the dedication is at 11. And the farmers market is doing their railway theme that day as well. And we were successful in getting the benches from Kamoka Railway Museum. So we have 1880s authentic Palmerston Railway benches coming.
Cool.
So we're doing a little swap with them. And last call for handcar races. Registrations are due on the 13th, and the event is hopefully going to take place on June the 24th. We have only received a couple applications for our Community Event Development Fund, which helps groups enhance existing events, and that went to the Palmerston Lions Club and the Crossroads Church. And we still have money to give away, so if there are any groups that are having events and want to add more programming, cultural programming to their events, we encourage them to apply. I know the Harrison Kinsmen have an application coming in for the street party that's coming up in Harrison, so there's still money left. We were supposed to host an event May 11th where community groups could come and find out about the resources that the Cultural Roundtable has and the money that we have to give out. And unfortunately, we didn't have very many registrations, so we had to cancel it. That's after me announcing to 200 people that we were having food and money. So that's unfortunate. So next year we're proposing that we potentially do our Culture Roundtable presentation at the volunteer dinner, where there is those 200 people in attendance, so we can get our message out to them. Because I know people are busy, and that may be part of the problem. We're beginning to plan Culture Days, so that's at the end of September, the last weekend, and we're going to be working on, again, we couldn't get any groups to come together we were going to give groups money to hold things for Culture Days, but that didn't seem to happen, so we're going to take that money and plan something ourselves and work with Councillor Jean Anderson and Gord and some of our members to have like artists and musicians and storytellers and all that at one event. We talked about Savor in the Street, so August 12th, the street party, Savor in the Street, savor the flavors, revamp for this year, so check that out. And then Gord and Taylor, Peggy, Meg, and I attended the Culture Grows Here Summit in Midland a couple weeks ago, and it was really great for getting information on public art and public art policies, because we are getting more and more into that sort of stuff, and heard some great speakers and great networking for a lot of the things we're doing. They were quite impressed with the work that we're doing here in Minto, and I think that's all that I wanted to talk about for the minutes if there's any questions.
Any questions?
And I'm going to switch over
Who?
to my show.
Oh, yeah.
I'll do that. I'm gonna catch up here in a minute.
Catching up here. He's playing a
Right,
game.
am I doing good, Matt?
Yeah, I thought he was
There? Well, this looks like it, but that's not it.
Oh, there we go. Camera control.
Light show.
Wow, that's cool.
Light show. No, she's doing the light show. Don't you have power like that?
Very nice.
Just like at the Parliament building.
Wow.
Oh, you moved it over to there. Okay. All right. She wants to control her own
I want
thing.
to control.
Oh, yes. Oh,
Okay,
yes.
that explains it.
First, before we get to, do we have to move the.
This is a power thing.
That's right.
Just hang on for a second. We'll have somebody move the cultural roundtable.
Sure.
Deputy Mayor Faulkner, Councilor Anderson, all in favor? Okay, good. What's that?
And I like to stand, so
I like that. But
We
let
can
me
do
moving
that.
around.
Oh, that's good.
Yep. Good stuff.
Okay.
All right.
So it's June, but we finally got around to doing our Economic Development and Tourism Department year in review, which is better than last year when we didn't get around to it at all. So apologies for not doing a 2015 year in review. So this was 2016. Here we go. So I wanted to highlight a big role of our department, and obviously know Summer and Taylor, and I want them to be here for this presentation. So we're all a team and want them to recap what we all did last year. So a big part of our role, and you are probably all well aware, is we are involved with numerous committees, locally, regionally, provincially. And this is really hard to see, but it gives you a sense locally that we are responsible for 15 different committees. That's prepping agendas, minutes, reports, follow-up, all that jazz. So there's the Economic Development Planning Committee. We have 3 downtown committees. We have the Cultural Roundtable Committee, which last year we added 3 subcommittees to: Palmerston Railway Museum, Local Heritage Markers, and the Youth Action Councils. Obviously, Launch at Minto, and a new subcommittee last year with the Elevate Agriculture Program. Our farmers markets, which last year we still had Harriston and Palmerston. We're on the Healthcare Professional Recruitment Committee with Ron and Mary Lou, the Chamber of Commerce, and the WOWSA, Women of Wellington Saugeen Area. Then regionally, we are involved with the Northern Wellington Joint Economic Development Group, which looks after projects like Renew Northern Wellington and the Bar Tarts and Buggy Trail. The Wellington County Municipal Economic Development Group, Taste Real Guelph Wellington, the IPM, we were involved with the County Showcase, the Economic Developers Council of Ontario, I sit on that helping to plan the conferences each year, Wellington County Festival Events Guide, the Hawk's Nest, which was new last year, and the Northford Youth Committee, which Taylor sits on. So a lot of committee work. Taste Real Guelph Wellington. So these are some of the events that we are involved with. The Taste Real project. This is a lot of pictures from the Rural Romp, which happens in the spring at the north end of the county. And we are responsible for getting our participants on board for this. And then the local food map. We have 9 Minto businesses that participate in the local food map. And we sit on the steering committee for this group. The Harrison Street Party. Taylor does a large role in this in terms of planning and with our Downtown Revite Committee, all of the activities that are happening, how it's being promoted, and doing the stuff the day of. The Light Up the Town and Ladies Night, again, coordinating all the businesses that participate, collecting all their fees, advertising the event and being out there on the street, along with all the Light Up the Town stuff that happens the night before. In Palmerston, we have the Christmas open house, the pop-up store, and the Living Windows, which is a really cool event. If you've not been over to see the Living Windows, it's something unique to the community. Obviously, the International Plowing Match. So that was a refresh of what our booth, railway-themed booth, looked like. And at that, we also did the employer tent. So the larger employers in our area came to us and asked us to put together a tent to help them attract employees. So that's the We're Hiring booth up there that we pulled together on top of the other stuff. And this was the successful Fire and Ice event that we partnered with the fire department on and preparing. In July, we'll start working on that one for next year, or for this year, I guess. And then the farmers market, so looking after all the vendors each week, getting all the vendor fees, the public health forms, promoting the special events, all the social media marketing ahead of time. Taylor was away last year with her knee injury, so Nicole Havman was our summer student, and she stepped up and did a great job filling in the market, and Taylor is now managing the markets on her own this year. The Palmerston Railway Heritage Museum, so this was a project that fell on our laps last year, and it's been transformed, and we still work on this, and it's moving along quite nicely. And new revamped website, palmerstonrailwaymuseum.ca. Heather Waterworth did that, looks really great. So that's moving along well. The Minto Youth Action Council, so this is Taylor and Grace's baby, and it's doing very well out of the 3 communities. I would say ours is probably the most successful, although we're the last out of the gate. We're doing pretty well, and they're very active and doing a lot of events, and it's kind of cool to see them progressing. So we have our Wowza Women in Business group. This photo here, the bus is a group of 40 women that came up from Guelph last year to participate in our screening worldwide premiere of Dream Girl at the Norgan. And then I'm also involved, the RISE project is out of the Innovation Guelph. So Innovation Guelph is one of our partners, and they do this RISE project that gives micro loans and grants to small businesses, women in small business, and covers Wellington, and I help judge who gets those grants every year. The Butter Tarts and Buggies initiative kicked off last year, and just some stats around that. We ran a bus tour. I think it was the only bus tour that actually ran at the IPM, and we had 23 people on that. We had 25 people on the bus, or that did the self-guide tour for a joint ECD meeting. There was 11 Minto businesses on this tour, and we had over 3,000 users to the website in our first year, and people came from Toronto, Brampton, and Guelph. So in terms of business development activities, obviously, we're very passionate about business retention expansion here. I think it's the most important thing you can do. And I always have to brag, we did 46 surveys. That's 1/3 of the total number of surveys that was done across the county. So kudos to us. And we're working on implementing our plan right now and awaiting the plan to come out of the county. The Pitch It Business Plan competition, last year Angie from Tiny Tots won. We had 4 finalists pitch off. And Angie's doing really well, so that's all good. Again, Wowza and doing all that stuff. And then the Renew Northern Wellington program, we had 2 openings last year. And it seems like so long ago, but that was Dinkelman's opening up in their little 500 square foot spot. And now they're down the street in Solutions old building with over 2,000 square feet. So that's a real success story. In terms of planning and infrastructure development, we administer all the community improvement plan stuff, and last year we gave away over $85,000 in grants to projects that totaled almost $300,000. So last year's leverage is about a 3-to-1, $3.43 to every dollar we invested. And that photo, if you haven't seen it before, is the inside of the former Agrotrend building, the Brett Young Seeds, and that's the inside of it now. So it's quite a transformation. And if you're at the Mayor's Breakfast, you would have seen this slide that shows over the last 6 years the return on investment for the CIP program, which is quite significant. And actually, I met with 2 municipalities last week that were at the OSAM conference, Ron, and wanted to get more information on what we're doing with our CIP program. In terms of community revite, we manage and coordinate all the downtown revite programs, and we work with the 3 downtown committees to do that each year. Those things include our banner programs, things like sidewalk sales, special events, our entrance signs, and our community service club signs. Signs are lots of fun, as Mike can attest to. We also work with healthcare services. So I mentioned before about doctor recruitment, things like that. We support that committee any way we can. We welcome the doctors when they come. If they're doing any appreciation events, we're there to lend a hand with that. Any marketing materials, because they're selling the quality of life, so we try to help them out with that sort of thing. Education, we work with Career Education Council and the schools to kind of match what the employers are looking for with the schools, doing different job fairs and activities like that. And then working with the local immigration partnership. And I'm going to talk a little bit later about a project we're going to be working on in terms of immigration and workforce shortly. Workforce development, as you all know, continues to be a challenge. Last year on our jobs and housing portal, we had almost 7,000 users to that site, which was almost a 40% increase. Page views were over 52,000, which was a 15% increase. And if you recall, we were featured on CTV News London, Kitchener, and CBC Radio Ontario. So that's really good. All of our jobs are now feeding into the county's new portal. And they're doing a big campaign, so it'll get our jobs even further out. The one image with the guy in the graduate hat there, that's the School Within a Factory program. So we worked with the school board on bringing that program into our community, and they're working with TG Minto and MSW, and they started in February, and this June they'll have 3 graduates from TG Minto already, which that's really good in a few months, and 1 other person from Palmerston. So there's going to be 7 graduates, and 4 of them will be from Minto community, so that's really good. And then those other posters are just images from the Wellington North Showcase. We partnered on a job fair with Wellington North and Agilec, and the other one's the advertising we did for the job fair at the plowing match. Alumni attraction, I'm not going to show you these videos, but last year we did 4 videos on our main sectors as part of the Come Home to Minto program. The first one is about the old posts and the creative economies and why people would want to come up and be in this area. The other one on the top right is North Wellington Co-op, kind of showcasing the agriculture. The other one is manufacturing, so TG Minto and MSW employees that grew up here, moved back, and talking about why they did that. And then the other one is Whiteman Telecom, so the IT kind of stuff. And the views, we did a YouTube campaign on this, so these videos showed up before people got to see their YouTube, and all of them ranged from 13,000 to 17,000 views, people watching these videos. So that was a really good campaign. We just talked about certified sites not long ago, so we took us 2 years to get that site certified, and it's certified last year. So that's exciting. And the marketing materials are out, and we're waiting to sell. In terms of marketing and communications, we look after all the Mayor's Breakfast series in partnership with the Chamber. So Summer does all the coordination and setting up the invitations and taking registrations and things like that. And then we present the reports. Grand openings, I should have calculated the number of grand openings we had last year, but we definitely had a lot of them, which is great news. In terms of presentations, last year I presented at the Vibrant Villages conference in Newstead. I got to present after Doug Griffiths, so if you heard him speak at the joint meeting, that was a tough person to follow up after. It was a great conference. The EDCO annual conference, I presented there, as well as at the Ontario Business Improvement Conference in London, and that was about our downtown project. And then we did consult last year with Hanover, Brockton, and Grey Highlands about either revamping their economic development programs, how they can get going with economic development to start, or how they, just in general, what they can be doing. Marketing communications. So Taylor is the key person responsible for keeping our websites up to date and our social media, and she's done a great job. In 2015, we worked with Heather Waterworth on coming up with a social media strategy and having a schedule that we know what posts are going out when. It's a strategic approach, and it's working really well. We've seen all of our sites increase in visitation, and all of our social media increase as well. Key marketing pieces that we developed last year were the new and improved community attractions guide, our new downtown investment packages, which people really seem to like, the resident prospectus piece, which goes along with our Come Home to Minto, and then the back page of the Rural Route magazine. In terms of research and information management, each year we collect data from all the downtown businesses. So if you're at the Mayor's Breakfast, you would have seen those stats. We also work with OMAFRA on getting the stats updated every year in terms of customer spending and demographics. And here on a Minto ED site, we house all the land and property inventory, whether it's industrial land or downtown properties that are for sale or for lease. We also act as the social conveners for the town of Minto. Some things that we did last year were the night at the races, which if you're coming this year, you need to get your information in by Friday. We also did regular lunch club activities, the TG Minto tree planting. That was a lot of fun. The bowl for kids, and we also had the mayor's weight loss challenge, which there was no cheating, but my team did win. And and lunchtime yoga group. So it's always fun to be the social conveners.
Everybody won on the weight loss. We all did well.
That's
We all
true.
won.
That's
Right,
true.
Bill?
That's
Right?
true.
That carried them.
Yeah. And then so for 2017, what are some key projects and priorities that we're working on? Continued rollout of our alumni attraction program. We recognize that we need to grow our residential population to help out our employers with employees and to also help our commercial businesses sustain themselves. Preparation for the Clifford Downtown Reconstruction Project. So that's going to be a beast, and we'll take what we learned from the Hairston project that went well and hopefully carry that over into Clifford. We'll continue to promote and market our job and housing portal. We're going to be continuing our involvement with the County of Wellington, and the project that I was mentioning before is supporting the economic integration of immigrants and international students in rural markets, as well as a municipal immigration pilot program. So we're doing two different things. We're also working with residential developers in our communities to attract residents, again, in an effort to grow our population, continuing the development of our Elevate Agriculture program, and focusing on making Minto a youth-friendly community in 2018. So I just want to say that none of this stuff would be accomplished without the great team that we have in our department. So thank you to Summer and Taylor and everybody else, because our department has to work very closely with a lot of people to make sure things get done. So the other picture is like recognizing some of those other partners that we work with, and obviously Public Works and Recreation and Treasury and all the other departments we have to work with. So just want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you to Council for recognizing the value of economic development. Well, and many are still struggling to figure it out and figure out how they can do it. So thank you for recognizing that. Thank you for getting me help, because there's no way any of this would get, or not to the extent, would get done without these girls helping me. So just thank you to everyone. We had a very successful year, and we're plugging away for 2017. So if anyone has any questions.
Questions? First one, clap. Questions?
I want to make a comment. Belinda came to our awesome convention and did a presentation, and there was two other ones that did the presentation with her. And after we had time for a couple of questions, we couldn't do it from the floor. So we said after to come up and talk to them. They had 7 or 8 lined up to her and nobody to the other two, which I was pretty proud of it.
And we got walked outside because we had to keep answering more questions.
Yes. And then we had several ones come up to me and try to poach her from us. So that's not going to happen, because I twisted her arm after. I said, she doesn't want to go anywhere.
Blue Mountains was trying to lure me with skiing, but I don't like winter, so you're safe.
And the good thing about it is you touched on as much as you could. There's lots of other things you could have told them about. Because of time, you couldn't do that. And I was very proud of her and pretty proud of the organization, because the things you brought forward certainly was part of your team. And it was well done. And we're lucky to have them and their team.
Mary Lou.
I just wanted to mention too how often economic development was mentioned at FCM, and how an important integral part it is of building a community. Mm-hmm. That was really brought forward in just about every workshop and every talk that was given.
Yeah. And Belinda mentioned it in her presentation there. We visited other places, and I have to say this council and the previous councils did a really good job of committing the resources you have to do for economic development. And it's tough sometimes, because when you're looking for things to have to cut, or you're trying to just massage the budget, it's an area that tends to get dropped sometimes. Your marketing, your economic development, your tourism attraction, all these things that if you see with this report, how all it interlinks and how you end up with, and we have these great discussions about the fact that why do people want to come to your community? And we have to build that community, in which we do. But that's done through a lot of hard work. And sometimes nothing gets, we're lucky because we're getting some great growth right now, but those are seeds planted many, many years ago with our industrial parks. And then on top of that, with how we are attracting people. And I'm looking forward to 2017 because we're already halfway through, but we're doing great things already. And all I do is I just take all the accolades and that I get from people come up about Minto. Minto is on the map with economic development. I can tell you that for the smallest community we are out there, and the FCMs of the world, and I hear it all the time at other groups. And yeah, we have to watch. We don't get poached here because there is that people out there that think that's a magic bullet. But Belinda will tell them
Yeah, it takes
it takes the team you talked about. It takes the commitment from the council. Because if you go in there and say, and you can get in a situation, an economic development officer, and think you're going to turn the world around, and you have no money from council, or you have no money to do it, you can be the best person in the world and not have it happen. So I think Belinda said it in her presentation. She appreciates our support and what we do to get those going, and keep up the good work.
Sure.
Jean.
If I could just add my 2 cents, being relatively new to council, but having watched it proceed to where it's from years ago through David, and I think, yes, council needs to be applauded for encouraging economic development, but we wouldn't be where we are without the drive and the enthusiasm you bring to the job. So there's economic development, then there's economic development, and you are a star.
Thank you.
All right, there you go. Thanks.
You good here?
Yeah. Oh, now we're in bylaw officer. What's that all about? Oh yeah, the chicken report.
Chicken tonight.
Hey. I see you got your uniform on and everything, so you're looking.
Yeah, that might help.
Oh, we have motion to accept that report. Sorry. Moved by Councillor Churton, second by Councillor Elliott. All in favor? Good. Go ahead.
Thank you. So October 2015, that's when we put policy to allow 3 properties in the residential areas to have chickens. And since then, this is the first time anybody's come forward and asked to raise chickens in their backyard. So this is in Palmerston, 332 Jane Street. I was over and had a look at where they're going to have them. Everything looks good there, with the exception of where it's located, but he's waiting for his lawn to dry up so he can get a forklift in and move the chicken coop to the back of the property, and it would be perfect. As far as I know, there's no complaints from any of the neighbors. Letters were sent out, so we didn't get anything back. Okay. So I think it's I think it's okay. I hope you guys accept my report. That's all I got.
Okay. Questions?
Nice looking setup.
Okay.
He's got a nice big yard there, and it's
great. Yep. And I have a mover. Moved by Councillor Churton, second by Councillor Elliott. All in favor? Opposed? Good. You're done.
All right. I'm out of here.
Yep. Well, the good news, this is something that a lot of communities are starting to get asked about. We've got a great system in place now, so at least we can monitor it. If there's a problem, Cam will be the first one over there to have chicken dinners. That's all, right? No, I mean, if there's a mess up, we'll be getting those chickens out.
Chicken? No.
Great.
Another staff outing.
Yep.
Okay.
Sample the wares.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I will turn this over to Ron. He's looking at me with a stern look. I didn't want to be talking. Like, what I do wrong now? I'll just turn over the fire chairman.
Thank you. And Mayor Bridge, and we have 2 items under fire. The first is the PTSD policy, and the second is the fire protection agreement with Howick. And so I'll turn at this time over to the Chief Harrow, and you can start.
Thank you. Thanks. I'm still wondering how Cam got ahead of me in the reports. Yeah.
Right there. Got ahead.
I like his uniform.
We're going to have to talk about that.
He's got a nice uniform on.
Yeah. Seniority. Yeah, we'll go with the seniority. The first one is, as Chair Faulkner said, that this is the PTSD plan that we were mandated to write and submit. It was through Bill 163, which was passed in April of last year, and it was entitled "Supporting Ontario's First Responders Act," the post-traumatic stress disorder. So we have written our plan. It was through my work with the OAFC board. We knew that this was coming, and we knew that the Minister of Labour, through dialogue with him, had said that everybody had to write their own plan. And the reason that they did sit in here that they didn't want templates is because they want each municipality to write their own plan so that it's something that you could actually use and not just copying someone else's and throwing it in there and saying, yeah, we're doing the same as them, and it doesn't work for your municipality. So we had to go through and make sure that we wrote this that would work specifically for us, because there is differences in each municipality with EAP or employment assistance programs, and some have chaplains, some don't have chaplains, some have family health teams and all that kind of stuff that we work with. So anyway, we wrote it. We've submitted it to the Minister of Labor. It will be a fluid document that it will continually change, and it will need to be updated all the time. So that's one thing I think is good. We have already started and undertaken our training. So we have trained all 80, I think we're at 82 firefighters with awareness training. We've trained all of our supervisors with the supervisor training. We're moving on now to the peer support group, which I'll talk about in a minute. But we also, as the county did, we all brought spouses in. And this was voluntary. This wasn't mandatory, but we had a very good turnout from our spouses and partners. And they were all given an awareness seminar too, because the difference between us and full-time, as you know, is after a call, our people go home to their families or back to their jobs, not sit around the table. We sit around, but we don't sit around for the rest of our shift. They're sent back to their job or their family. So we did some awareness training with the families, and the entire county did that, and it was a really good idea. At our last county chiefs meeting, we spoke and we talked about moving the peer support team. So the way the peer support team will work is if we have an incident and we do need the help of some of our peers that are more trained in the PTSD, we'll be able to call on different departments in the county to come help us out, kind of like we do for mutual aid now with calls. And the reason is that we can't use our own peer support all the time is because sometimes our peer support people will be involved in the incident. So you can't really call them and ask them to lead a debriefing or lead a talk when they were involved in the incident. So it'll give us a chance to call Postal Interest Center, Wellington, anywhere else in the county and say, can you come in, send your people in and help us out? And then we offer the service to them. So that's why we're doing it as a kind of a county initiative so that we can all work together. As I said in the report, we've used Renee Jarvis from the Critical Incident Stress Foundation, and she's been excellent. She's helped write numerous police programs and she comes from the policing side, but she's still very, very good, and she's really helped out our people. I know I was going to say something else, but I'll just leave it at that. The other part in here that I'd just like to say or ask for, and when you make your or pass the motion, hopefully, we would like to enroll all the firefighters in the VFIS. So VFIS is the insurance carrier we carry for the volunteer firefighters insurance. They do have a very good EAP program, which is now linked with Homewood in Guelph. And Homewood is actually the first one in Canada, I believe. I know Ontario, but I'm pretty sure Canada that has a PTSD branch of their hospital. So
good for them.
When you come in, you go right to that area. It's totally separate from the rest of their hospital, which is good.
Well, Chief, is that like a hotline then?
So the EAP program would be a hotline. So it's a 1-800 number that we provide to all of our firefighters. Currently, they are not covered technically under the Aspira program. We do have access to it that we can pay. They have given us permission before to do it on a pay per needed basis, but I think as part of this program, this plan, we would like to enroll them in the VFIS program, which is $2 per firefighter per month. And then they have the 1-800 number card in their wallet. And if they ever need help or have issues and they don't feel comfortable coming to us, they can utilize that service. Just the same as what our current EAP program for the rest of our employees are. But as I said, this specializes in PTSD, which I think is very important. So we're really excited about the plan, and I think it worked out well. The training has been very well received amongst all our firefighters and our supervisors. It's something that's becoming more and more of an issue, and unfortunately, we have events fairly routinely. It seems throughout the year that we have to do parts of this plan, or hopefully not all of it ever again. But so that's my report on that, and hopefully, if you have any questions, I can answer them for you.
Thank you. Any questions for Chief Jean?
Just a couple.
Or Councillor Anderson, sorry.
Okay, I'll answer that. About debriefing and things. I know in our small hospitals, we know it's excellent, we know it's helpful. It's very difficult to organize. Does the PTSD branch from Homewood provide you with any resources there, or like it's always difficult to get people back, and it's almost impossible to do right after the incident when it's fresh. But it's certainly an opportunity for people to talk about. Take some blame on ourselves. We wish we got there faster. We wish we did something different, and I think that contributes. It eats away at people. So, know how much you guys get to do with that, or how easy it is for you to accomplish.
It's easy up in our area, I'll say, to get everybody together if we have to. I have had conversations with the family health team, and we're making kind of a list of who we're going to approach next to expand this. So part of the plan that's not in the plan is to start including groups like that. Our dispatchers, the OPP already has a very strong branch of it. The paramedics do, and so the family health team and the hospital are the next on the list to see if we can work together and kind of have a made in Minto plan that will work with that. For us, it's not difficult to get everybody together on another night if needed and bring everybody back together to talk. Then that's part of the peer support. So
it'd be a real challenge in hospitals with shift work and stuff to get enough people and get it timely enough to be effective for them. But
yeah, and the paramedics suffer that way too. People just don't want to come in on their time off. But I think my opinion is with the PTSD and how much limelight it's getting and how much focus it is and good properly too. It'll become a little bit easier just to say, I know it's your night off, but we're having it all together. And by getting all the groups together, like the nurses, the doctors, the firefighters, the paramedics, it's kind of more inclusive that way, and everybody doesn't feel as centered out, I guess is the best way of saying it.
Okay. Just before I pass it on to somebody else, what's the acronym for
VFIS.
Thank you. Councillor Elliott?
Yeah, I've had personal, I think I've talked to you about this, Chris, before, and this is so important. When I was a firefighter way back in Palmerston, for the 10 years, I was involved in two deaths, one in a fire, 16-year-old girl, a 19-year-old Kitchener Ranger hockey player in an accident. And you can see I'm choking on. Those days, you didn't have anybody to talk to, and you were too embarrassed to say you went home and climbed in the shower and cried. You know, Now I think this is so important because you give so many of our firefighters an out, somewhere to go, somewhere if they're even embarrassed to come and talk to you, their peers, they can call a 1-800 number. The only person I had was my wife, and thank God she was there. It took me years and years and years for me to even talk to someone. So kudos. We need it.
Mayor Bridge?
Yeah, thank you. And just, I love the fact that you had the wives involved or the spouses involved in the training as well. Because again, what Ron is alluding to, I mean, they go home, right? And they may have symptoms of needing to talk to somebody, and by having the other set of eyes watching gives them an opportunity to get them out of that shell that they might be in. And so I think that's very important. We all know our spouses can sometimes nag us enough to do things that we should be doing that we don't.
Yeah, they are the backbone of it a lot of the time. So
absolutely.
Thank you, Mayor Bridge. Anybody else? Okay, then I would entertain a motion to accept the report on PTSD, and actually, I think we could include in that motion enrollment in the FIS program. Motion? Thank you, Councillor Anderson. Seconded by Councillor Dirksen. All in favor? I declare the motion carried. Okay, and next, item 4, then, Chief, you talk on the Minto Fire Protection Plan, or the Howick, sorry.
No, that's okay. So, the Howick Fire Protection Agreement. So, just a fire protection agreement is something that we have 2 of them, one with North Perth and one with Howick, and it's something that a municipality that's neighboring us comes to us and asks us to protect a part of their municipality because of location of our stations, or we quite simply we can get there quicker than what their station is. So that's where traditionally we've protected a part of North Perth, because Wallace Township, the old Wallace Township, comes right into Palmerston, and same with Howick. Howick Township is right on the edge of Clifford. So they came to us back in 2015, and CO Clerk White and myself negotiated an agreement with them, and that agreement was on a per call basis. And it happened that we had a very busy year last year on a per call basis, and there was a substantial bill that went to Howick, which they paid as per the agreement, and there was no issues with that. They came back to us this year and asked that we renegotiate the agreement again, because of the cost of how much it cost them last year, and because there's no particular rhyme or reason, obviously, as how many calls we're going to do in the area from one year to the other. We provide 5 years worth of statistics and went on a historical basis, but it's very hard to predict how many calls we're going to do. So they've come back with an agreement that they shrink the area, as you can see in the map that CEO White did, because he's way more technical with map stuff than I am. And so the area that we used to cover and the area that we are now, they've asked us to cover, has shrunk by about 50%, maybe a little bit more. And as per that, the agreement money that they're going to pay us to cover that has shrunk as well. They've offered to pay $6,500 a year for us to cover that area. Again, I can't give you exact calls and how many we're going to do in the new area. It can be anywhere from a low of years past of 2 or 3, to as high as last year we did 13. 13 did have some of the areas in the blue that you see on the map. I think there was 4 calls in the blue, so it would have been actually 9 in the green area. So the recommendation is from me is that we pass the agreement. We have no issues with the territory. It's kind of up to them to ask us to cover whatever they want of their municipality. I will say that the reason that they came, or how they came to that new territory, is they took the time frame it takes for their station to get to all ends of their municipality, and they applied that same time limit from their station to coming towards Minto, or that blue area, so that all of their residents are getting consistent time frame there. Any areas in the green area is the area that is outside of that time frame, and that we can get there a lot quicker.
So the green area is close to Minto,
Correct.
And the blue area is not.
The blue area is the same time limit that it takes for them to get from their Gorey station to that area as
Correct.
it would take go Gorey west.
Correct.
So I think it's 7 minutes and 40 some seconds to go west.
Yep.
7 minutes and 40 seconds brings them to the blue area here that they're going to keep covering. Or
they're going to cover that.
They're going to cover the blue area themselves.
Okay.
The green area is the area that we would cover for them.
Councillor.
Thank you, Chair Faulkner, Chief Harrell. So they have, what do they have? 2 stations? One in Gorey and one in, just one?
Just one station in Gorey. Yep.
So you see this as anything else, Councillor Church? So you see this as a fair agreement? We've gone 3 different types of agreements in a short period of time, and this one here just doesn't tickle my fancy as much as the one previous.
The one previous definitely favored us in the fact that it reimburses us volume of calls, so we get paid for as many calls as we do there. This one is going back to what the old agreement that we had for many different years, where there was a set fee that they paid, like this was it, and we could do 30 calls in there, we could do 2 calls in there, and we got the same amount of money. So it's going back to that, which is to me a little bit fair. When it comes to the money part of it, we can break the calls down, we can break historical data, we can do per trucks, we can do all that stuff. I'm just not a big fan of putting, trying to get nitpicking about dollars here and there when it, a few $1,000s here, a few $1,000s there when it comes to people's safety. I look at it as let's get the closest fire trucks there first. And I know all of council thinks that, so that's where the dollars, I'm really not sure what's a fair dollar amount and what's not.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Elliott first and then Mayor Bridge.
Mutual aid. So if you get a call, I think we still do. If you get a call, all of a sudden you realize it's in Howick's area that they now cover. You just send your trucks.
Just go.
Correct.
You just keep sending your trucks and you keep going to the fire until Howick show up, kind of thing.
Correct.
Is there any? Do we get any of that cost back, or is that just if they got the same thing, we take the loss and they take the loss when it happens to us too?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. If there's a mistake in dispatching, we just go and
Just go
until
they tell you not to.
Right.
Okay.
Mayor Bridge.
Correct.
Yeah, I just want to point out that one of the things when we had the full coverage before, and we had the set rate, it wasn't us that wanted to change the set rate. They wanted to go to a.
No, I realize that.
And in fairness, it hurt them, right? And they're a small community, and I'm thinking, I'm kind of on your side a little bit, Deputy Mayor Faulkner, in that we're probably, although we're cutting it in half, we're probably giving a fairly good deal. But I think we really at this point in time, and I recommend that I would go with what the chief is saying. It's part of protection, and we want to be there. And so we can haggle maybe for a few more thousand, but I'm thinking this is, if he's happy with it, I'm happy with it.
No, I'm not trying to haggle for a few more
No,
thousand.
I don't.
I think it's important that the municipality at least covers our cost because we've just bought 2 new fire trucks in the last while, and there's a definite cost to maintaining those vehicles and whatnot. And I think I personally think it's only fair that if we're providing that service for somebody, that's worked into the formula for the agreement. That's just my thoughts.
That's true.
5 years. How long is this?
Yeah, how long is this agreement for, Chief? I didn't catch that actually. Just 1 year?
I think it's a 5-year agreement, and then it's automatically renewed until somebody exercises the escape clause. So,
CO White, could I ask your opinion on this?
I think by reducing the area, I think we can justify the reduced budget amount. We base budgeted $9,000 for revenue, so that was what we would have assumed out of the old agreement. So for the drop of 2,500 and the reduced liability for the additional area, I think it's a good agreement for us.
Okay.
Essentially, it's not covering the cost, but I think it continues on in the spirit of partnership, and
no question.
That's I think what we
and what is there any method of cost recovery if we have all of a sudden a major call, and that's always a possibility, but a major call or a higher volume of calls? Is there any way of at least going back to the municipality? Is there an escape clause plus as well?
There is an escape clause that we can exercise to get out of the agreement and renegotiate or just get out of it totally, which I would never recommend. But we can escape, like get out to renegotiate if we see a year or 2 years down the road that this is not fair to us. If to answer your question about the major incident, there's not really. If there is a major incident in Howick, we would both be there, Howick and us, and we would be able to release our resources, and they would assume taking over and looking after their own municipality that way. For revenue expectations this year, we are still operating under the old agreement, so calls that we've done to this point in time are still at the $3,000 per call. So we are still going to hit. I think we've been I want to say 3 or 4 times we've been to Howick this year. So that is going to that's going to be billed the same way as it was last year till this agreement's been passed. And I did point out that any motor vehicle accidents, as per our fee schedule, we will be able to bill for them, which is $450 per truck per hour. So we still have that ability to any motor vehicle accident in Howick will be billed as per our fee schedule. So that does, as I said in the report, that does offset some of the costs that we are not going to gain. So not that I'm
we
hoping
do have
for
to
any,
answer to our taxpayers on the monies we put towards the fire department, and I
Absolutely.
I don't regret a dime of it, but I just say we have to be responsible for the agreements that we make. So,
Agreed.
any other questions? Oh, Judy or
Right.
Councillor Dirksen?
Same. I guess now you've flustered me. I can't remember what I was going to say. I think it's important that we at least have an idea that we're going to cover our expenses. Like I feel like we're going into this knowing we're not covering our expenses, and I feel like that's kind of dangerous ground to be treading. I mean, we can talk about Howick being a small municipality and so on and so forth, but it's our taxpayers that are paying for that. And so I guess I would just like to see something that has a little better chance of covering our expenses. Is there any way that it could be an adjustment at the end of the year, maybe, or something? Or like 5 years is a long way out. $6,500 is, what's $6,500 going to be in 5 years? Like that might be. It seems like not very much now, and it could be a pittance in 5 years. So I guess I'm just a little concerned about us setting ourselves up for 5 years, and almost knowing that we are not covering our expenses. That concerns me.
Is there any way that we could set it on a range of calls? That the 6,500 covers up to X number of calls, and then above that, it would be
like that, yeah.
$1 per call.
We can do the agreement however council wishes. There's many different ways, and I've seen many different agreements throughout the province for sure. It's tough to get into that calls. I'm trying to think. I don't want to say if we do this many significant calls, we want more money type thing. Like if we do 3 structure fires in a year, we could be there for 15 hours total, for those 3 calls. Whereas if we do quick medical calls where we're in and out, is that different than another call where we're there for 5-6 hours? I don't want to get into breaking down calls, and because that's where, as I said, I'm really leery of. It's all about resident safety and stuff like that. I'd rather just say it's however we structure the agreement.
But I do tend to agree with Councillor Dirksen on the fact that we could be putting ourselves into a situation where we're not recovering our costs or anywhere near our costs.
I agree, and the problem is that I struggle with all these agreements, and and our North Perth agreement is as a flat fee as well, because of that's just we've always done that way, and we send them a report of how many calls we do. It's tough to say because our expenses are 1 year, as I said, in the historical we did 3. Last year we happened to do 13. So was last year just an anomaly? So it's really hard to track our costs. I can do an average. We've talked about that doing. We average. I think for the time frame that I took, we averaged 6 to 7 calls in that time. But there was a bunch of years that were. So do you take a median? How do you track your cost to say this is exactly what our cost would be to go in there?
No, and you'd never know because, like you say, there's so many variables.
That's right. And the other part that, as I said, is a call is a call for us, but a call could be a 6-hour call where we're paying firefighters for 6 hours because they're at a structure fire or something like that. Or it could be a 20-minute, you're in, you complete the call and you're back home type thing, which traditionally a lot of our calls are. So it's there's so many variables that it's very hard to come up with a concrete.
That 20-minute call and the 3-hour call probably does not cost you that much more.
It would in wages and in fuel. because the trucks are idling the entire time. We don't shut the trucks down, so your fuel costs will be a little bit more, but your wages would be obviously more. For calls that are less than 3 hours or more than 3 hours, it's probably a structure fire. So now we're into washing gear and all that stuff, which is another cost. So it's so difficult. So
Okay. CEO White.
Yeah, just to be clear, what we had before was a base amount of 9,000 and then 3,000 a call. So we were $9,000 in the agreement, and 3,000 for each time we went out above that. So you basically got 3 calls minimum. So now we've cut the area in half and dropped the base budget to 6,500 and taken out the additional amount per call. So it's not a huge shift. We did calculate when we brought the first agreement back to you the cost per call, and it depends on what you include in that, whether you include the vehicle purchases and all that stuff. So we're comfortable with the 6,500 per call. One option might be if and it does increase by inflation each year, or the COLA, so that's helpful. But maybe we could propose that we put back in for over, say, 10 calls $1,000 a call. Whether that would be punitive toward them, it would at least recognize that if we get called out there again and again and again, that there's some upside for us. I think we've gone from sort of a lot of upside from us to something where we don't have any.
Engine swum.
So
Thank you.
If there's some concern with council with the 6,500, you might want to propose back that, say, after 10 calls, it's $1,000 a call, and they might have to pay another $3,000 a year.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Elliott.
This is based on we can get to that place quicker normally, right?
correct,
So these people are neighbors of ours.
correct.
Most of them are closer to Minto than they are to Gorey or their coverage. I would suggest maybe these people don't pay taxes in the community and help towards the cost, but I would bet you most of them participate in our community somewhere, either shopping, going into our community for sports complexes, being involved in our community more so than they are back in Howick. Morally, maybe it's good that we do support our neighbors that are living on the edge of our community. And I don't have a problem with that at all for that reason. Yep. And I believe safety for any persons, whether they're in Howick or whether they're in Minto, is first and foremost in my life, what I would think. So again, like I said, they don't pay taxes, but they participate in our community.
Right. And just to give council just some quick perspective, like the Redwood restaurant and the houses right on that corner are all Howick Township.
Yeah.
So that's how close, and for people watching home, that's how close that, to your point, that they are to our community. That, a lot of people think that that's actually where Minto goes, and I know you guys know that, but that side of the road is actually Howick Township. So that's how close we're talking.
And I think to be fair, like Councillor Dirksen, Councillor Anderson, myself, and Councillor Caldwell, so far the comments have not been that we do not want to assist the township of Howick. It's the last of our desires. We just think, my personal feeling is that we got better make sure we make a decent agreement.
Yeah, I agree 100% with you guys.
Councillor Anderson, I'll take one more. Councillor Anderson.
Just one question. Who decides who gets dispatched? Dispatch?
So the way that you see that on the map, that's sent into actually Bell Canada, who runs 911.
Okay.
So that when a 911 call comes in from inside either one of those areas, it goes to our dispatch center or their dispatch center.
Okay. So they just go by the map.
They go by the map. For cell phone callers, it's a guess. It's dispatch that has to try and figure out, are you in the green area or are you in the blue area?
Well, that's what I'm
and that's
saying,
where, to your point, where we could get
lines are so close, right?
right, and that happens all the time now, where we go into Wellington North and we just go.
Okay, thank you.
For sure.
I just want to make a motion.
No, I want to say one more.
Mayor Bridge has
and
closing remark.
And only because I'd asked him before.
He had
I
asked me
cut everybody
before.
off. He said I could. But anyways, I think what CEO Bill White has talked about is maybe that upside,
Yes.
just to do that protection thing. I kind of like that, and I would like to add that into the motion. Is that what you're going to say,
That's
Mary Lou?
exactly the motion.
Okay, see, we're thinking like that.
Okay, so then I will say the recommendation is that council approve the Township of Howick Fire Protection Agreement as outlined in the Fire Chief's May 19th, 17 report and pass the corresponding bylaw authorizing the CEO, clerk, and mayor to sign the agreement. Could I have a motion to that effect? Well, no, you make a motion how you want it.
Okay.
I would make that motion.
I already had acknowledged.
I know,
But I don't want to make that
She doesn't want
motion.
to make that.
She doesn't
motion.
Well, you don't want to
that
make that.
No,
I want to change that
She wants
motion.
That's what, and I was authorizing her to change the motion.
I think you have to deal with the motion. on
Okay,
the floor.
all right. Motion,
I'll second
you're
the
making,
motion.
you're seconding that motion? Okay, all those in favor of that motion? Opposed? Okay, I declare motion defeated. So now I will entertain a new motion for this agreement.
And I would like to make a motion that we agree to the flat fee of $6,500 for up to 10 calls. And an additional charge per call is issued for more than 10 calls. If $1,000 is the amount that covers the cost, then that's what I would suggest.
Okay, seconder to that motion? Councilor Dirksen? All in favor of that motion? Opposed, if any? Opposed is Councilor Elliott, and you wish to be noted, I'm assuming?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. I declare the motion carried of 5, 1, and 1.
Mr. Chair, so then mechanically, we have the resolution. We could probably write in the plus 1,000 per call in the bylaw, and then have the mayor and I initial it and send it back to them and see what happens.
Into negotiations.
But they will have an agreement if they agree to that.
Okay.
And sorry, point of order. What does 5, 1, and 1 mean?
5, 4, 1 against, and 1 abstain.
Why abstain? Who abstain?
I don't think, do I have to answer that?
What's the difference?
Well, if you abstain, then are you not in favor? I think.
I guess
Okay,
procedurally,
then it's passed.
Procedurally,
It's passed anyways.
We didn't call for a recorded vote.
So you call for a recorded vote.
But it's an absence, as it's shown.
just to be clear, so you asked Councillor Elliott if he wished to be noted. So we would note in the motion that Councillor Elliott was opposed, but you didn't do a recorded vote, which we list everybody then. But,
Oh, okay.
okay, so we will just have it carried with Councillor Elliott, who wanted to be noted as opposed.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
Is that fair?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Chief. And I'll turn the chair back over to Mayor Bridge.
Okay, and I'll quickly turn it over to Councillor Caldwell.
Oh, I believe we have an item on the agenda prior to that.
Where is that?
It's the road closure.
The deputy clerk?
Well, the deputy
We have
clerk.
two.
Oh, I'm sorry, the homecoming.
All right, you actually have two before the treasurer.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right, thank you for that. I was going a little fast. I want to get going here. Go ahead.
Well, this is a pretty quick and simple report. It's on the temporary road closure for the Clifford Homecoming. As we know, the homecoming is taking place August 4th to the 7th in Clifford, and they are asking to have a parade, which is planned for August 5th at 11 a.m. The parade route is Alora Street north to Nelson, east to Brown, and then north to James Street, and is 1.6 kilometers in length. I'm looking to ask for it to be closed from 10 a.m. till 1 p.m. I have a bylaw for such for you to look at later on in the session.
I'm hoping that's enough time for them.
I was going to say, is that enough?
I think you're going to have a huge parade. Well, we'll figure it out. They can't open it up until they're done. So that's the way it is.
That's how fast.
We won't tell anybody else.
Depends who's driving.
Yeah.
I'm gonna predict right now the end of the parade will still be coming to the there will still be people beginning. The end will come. You'll be able to go in this parade twice if you want.
Start on time.
They start on time. No, they're pretty efficient up there. They're gonna have it all figured out. Anybody got any concerns about that? Can I have a motion? Councillor Anderson, Councillor Caldwell, get the corners. All in favor?
Thank you.
Oh, you did.
Yes, she did. Okay, I'm moving along on water. The water one. Oh, I almost missed that. Oh,
You just
That's why I
about.
brought you back.
okay. This is on you, Bill.
Mayor Bridge, have you passed the chair on to Public Works, or are we still?
Is this a public works one? This isn't a public works one. This is you.
Yeah. Oh,
You want to pass it to public works? I can.
We can do it.
I thought it was down at roads at public. Would you want it? Do you want it, Dave?
Better. Yep.
Well, it's 6 of 1, I guess.
It's going to be a.
Mayor Bridge, worked on this report with our water foreman in Public Works, who was Wayne Metzger, our overall responsible operator.
Yep.
And we had a proposal back to you back in May from a bulk water provider who wished to have an agreement with the town to take bulk water from what we thought at the time would be the Palmerston location. That motion, which you see in the middle of the agenda, is in the middle of the report, has been fairly controversial, and there's been a lot of feedback on it, and we certainly appreciate that. So we discussed the issue with the individual who had asked, and we also looked further at some of the agreements around, and we find our consumption numbers and came up with a draft policy that we think we need to have, because bulk water is needed to be taken anyway. Outside of any agreement that Brights may want to have, from time to time bulk water is needed. It's needed in our community. It could be needed in the agricultural community. You just never know where it may be needed, and I think we need to be able to supply that, and that's what the policy attempts to do. So it puts the responsibility for that in the hands of the overall responsible operator. That is a legislated position. That person is charged with making sure our water systems operate, and I think that's where that decision should be. That said, council should obviously have the say on who may have access to the water and under what conditions. And so the policy, just to go over our consumption numbers, basically, since 2012, we are using over 200,000 cubic meters less of water, so 232,000 cubic meters less of water. That's a credit to everyone in the municipality, all our water users, and to council and the operators of the system. Of that 232,800 cubic meters, what the policy would allow the overall responsible operator to allocate would be up to 0.725% of that. So less than 1% of our consumption could be allocated to bulk water at the discretion of the overall responsible operator. The charge for accessing that bulk water would be $100 per application and $3 per cubic meter to any person who wished to access bulk water. That's about a third higher than the rate that one would pay. Any one person is paying for their water right now, maybe not quite that, and includes a $100 administration fee, which covers some of the concerns that our staff had about being called down there and having to set up and so forth. The issue about having bulk water taken when we're under water restrictions was clearly pointed out, and I certainly appreciate the fact that we had just published our annual water notices in the paper, and then this
Mike's story is right beside it.
And
that on purpose.
And I think that pointed out that probably didn't help with the public relations sides of things. Let's put it that way. So really, if you look at the issues separately, we are using so much less water now that, frankly, the water restrictions are not needed anymore, in our opinion. We do need to be able to call on water restrictions if we get into a prolonged drought situation, or if there's a failure of some form in our equipment. We still need to be able to do that. But this policy would allow for water taking, but not when there are any water restrictions whatsoever in place. So we would not be in a situation where a customer is restricted on water in any fashion and somebody is trying to take bulk water from our system. That just simply will not happen. So we've heard the people who commented to that degree, and the policy adjusts for that. So we're recommending you consider adopting the policy with the limits that we put forward, that you not sign an exclusivity agreement with Bright's Water. So Bright's Water would have to apply like anyone else who needs bulk water, and they would be considered by the overall responsible operator from time to time as needed as to whether they can access bulk water. And they would only access it if there is no water ban whatsoever in place and the overall responsible operator is satisfied that we can accommodate it. For example, in Harriston, one of our major users is Farm Fresh. If they are active at a time, we do not want to be giving bulk water out of Harriston because it simply puts too much pressure. Similarly, in the mornings when people get up to go to work or whatever, we don't want to be giving bulk water then. So the overall responsible operator knows when our highest consumption levels are and can make sure that we tap into our system for that very limited, less than 1% amount at the right time. I think it's a responsible policy. It's an environmentally appropriate policy because bulk water is needed and it should be available from the closest reasonable source. It should not tax our system, and it should not be given when there's water bans on our regular customers. So this policy will not impact our customers in any way. It is the reasonably environmental approach because it allows water to be taken from the closest possible source. And it leaves the control of that under our overall responsible operator. The amount of revenue, if based on less than 1% of the consumption taken, is $15,000 a year. We could probably sell 10 times that amount and still be comfortable, but we've kept it to a very, very low amount. Just a reminder that we do have many municipalities who do see this as a way to generate revenue for the system. We're looking at it more as a service. And it's very, very limited. Again, less than 1% at 0.725% of total consumption. So we're recommending the policy. It provides clarity to our staff who have been allowing water to be taken basically under those conditions anyway, and it just makes it clear that no one bulk supplier has exclusivity on it, and we're making the decision based on the system that can most accommodate taking the water at the time. So that's our recommendation to you.
David, are you gonna handle it, or do you want me?
No, go ahead.
Well, the reason I got confused, it used to be down with you down the roads.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Mayor Bridge. Questions for Bill on this? Councillor Elliott.
Okay.
You, Councillor Elliott?
No, I didn't. I get confused. I thought I was.
Sorry, Councillor Elliott. Go ahead.
Called on you, yes.
This is really, really difficult. I don't think in many, many years that I've ever had so many phone calls and so many letters and emails or letters on this topic. And
on this topic or on a topic? On
this topic about water, about the water taking that we're involved in. And no matter what I say, no matter how much I tell them, we're just nipping on the water and we're probably not going to have a water ban. All that doesn't seem to matter. It's their water and they don't want to lose it. And no matter how right it is, it doesn't seem to matter to the public. I couldn't convince one person that we're doing the right thing. Now, I certainly didn't have the information that the bills brought forward has given me some consideration of where I would vote on this. Couple things that come to mind. How much water do we use in a car wash? Does anybody know? A year?
I'm sure those numbers are out there.
Yeah, so we allow some bulk water going out there, I would suggest, if we have a car wash, and a pool. Like, how do they get their pools full or fill them up?
Yeah, you go through the meter and you pay. Yeah,
Which, I mean, is it okay for somebody to fill a pool when we're in restrictions? I don't know. So, like, we do use bulk water already, and yet it's not shown. It's kind of done quietly on the side, and I guess when we brought this forward, I'm torn. People voted me in to do what their wishes are, and their wishes are, we don't want water taken away. That's their wishes, no matter what the story, no matter what I've told them. And I'm wondering if maybe we could defer this to another council meeting and give them a chance to get the information out that we've just received from Bill today, so that maybe that information would give them a chance to regurgitate, maybe change their thoughts on what we're doing with this. Have some kind of reference back, because right now I would have to vote that we don't allow it to happen, because that's what the people that voted for me didn't want. I would say 100% of everybody I've talked to said you can't vote for this. So maybe a deferral for a while, and then maybe people will change their mind until such time that we get the information out to them that we need to get out, that we aren't in water restrictions anymore, and so on. So,
thank you, Councillor Elliott. Councillor Dirksen.
So I just had a question. So is the 0.725%, is that on a first come first served basis, or how do you decide? Because somebody could run in and get that in the first 2 months of the policy, and then we'd be done.
If I may,
Yes, go ahead, CIO White.
Chair, then they would apply to the ORO, and it is first come first serve. And if we ever reach the 0.725% consumption, then we would not allow any more. Now, if there was a need for it, I could see a situation where we'd have to come back here and ask for that.
Ask another question?
Yes, go
or do I have
ahead.
to wait my turn? Okay.
Yep, Councillor Dirksen, go ahead,
My
please.
other note that I had here was, with this new information, I was going to suggest too that maybe deferral or tabling, or I don't care what you call it, because I'm the same as Ron. I have Councillor Elliott.
Ron's good.
I have not had one person say this was a great idea. I suspect if we turn this down, then somebody will say we're throwing 15 grand away. So, but I wonder if we need some time to get this information out there, because it was kind of maybe poorly presented, right? Awesome. Nobody's fault. You know, it was time to put that ad in the paper, and that's just when it just happened badly. So
it's your wishes, Councillor Anderson. Go ahead.
When we talk about bulk water being needed, do we have an example of that? Like, are we talking filling pools? Are we talking, and is it the town taking bulk water, or are they outside external customers?
CIO White.
It could be the town. It could be people who, and it would be better for them to fill their pools that way rather than drawing on the system through their own supply. But it could be the town. We could need it for our construction projects to keep water dust down in certain areas. It could be for outside contractors doing projects just outside our boundaries or not far from here to keep water down. It could be needed as temporary storage at a water facility where they're doing testing. So, I mean, they're all reasonable requests. They're logical. And for it to come from the closest system that has capacity makes sense environmental.
So if I could just expand on that question.
Go ahead.
If we're looking at bulk water, do we have a conveyance in which to transport bulk water, or do we have to hire somebody from outside to move bulk water?
Go ahead. That is contracted, so we don't have equipment to move bulk water.
And we did that last summer for the plowing match. We contracted.
Right, this is a company that we contracted.
Yep. Yes. Councillor Caldwell.
I guess my question was very similar to Councillor Dirksen's, in the fact that how do we decide first come first serve on the bulk water, and I guess I have a concern, like you say, the constituents, everyone that approached me, it was all selling our water.
Yeah.
And that seems to be the big issue, is that we're selling it outside of Minto. If we need bulk water within Minto, I don't have a concern with that. But if we're selling our water outside of Minto, I do, and I'm sorry.
Thank you. Mayor Bridge.
Yeah, and I think everybody's talked about it, and we've all had the letters, and we've all had the concerns. And I think what staff is trying to do here, and I think I give them a lot of credit for it, they're trying to take this and come up with a policy that we all can sort of have now, because really right now we really don't have a policy, and yet we're doing it. And by putting it into the experts' hands, and by limiting it to that less than 1%, and in a first come first served basis. We talked about filling pools. A good example is if I was going to fill my pool, I certainly could put it through the meter system, but then I'm paying double because I'm paying, the sewage cost too. And do we really want it? Yeah, I don't. Anyways, I look at that, and I look at some other things that some of our local people probably don't realize that they could use bulk water from time to time. That might be a different way. So I think we've some of the concerns have been done. But the other thing we talked about, and I think because when you look at the savings, and it's totally amazing the savings we've got, which is really good news, because remember when we put the meters in, we talked about the fact that would save us. And would save us on our sewage capacity and save us on some of those issues. And I guess I look at it and I say, okay, we've got that now. I really would like us to, and I have no problem if we want to get this information out, Bill, because it's a report that's new, and get it out there. That's fine, and we can talk about it at another council meeting. But I would like to get it out to the people and let it sort of have a look at it. But I think it's the right thing to do now is to give us some kind of ability to control where we're at with this. And I think as Bill said, from an environmental standpoint, I mean, we're not trucking it all over, and it's going to be more local, and I think that's the way you want to do it. But otherwise, we're going to have to, people that want bulk water for us, we're going to have to go outside and bring the bulk water in, because that's what's happening now. If I need to fill my pool, I've got to go get bulk water out, or I go through my meter.
And I guess I'm saying the people within Minto,
Yeah. So this gives them something. I don't think we can say Minto because we start getting into, but first come first serve. I think you leave it up to the. And the other thing I want to finish up on is it's time for us to get rid of the watering ban thing, because I've had people come to me and say, I'm paying for my own water now, and I love my lawn, I love my garden, I'm going to water it every day if I have to. And you know what? Unless we're in a situation which we can invoke, if we're in a drought situation, we invoke the drought thing. But I think that was unfortunately a bad situation when we had that go in at the same time. Because at one time, we got the letter from somebody that said 1999, our trees were dying, we couldn't water them. So, there was those drought periods, and we have to understand that climate change, we could get that again. But at the same token, I think we should get rid of that ban, and that's something I've asked the staff to maybe look at, to come back to us with a bylaw to say the bylaw would only be enforced if our water people and our fire department felt that it was needed, right? So I think those two things, if we did that and got that information out, and then we can have another discussion at another council.
Go ahead, Councillor
Yes,
Caldwell.
through you, Councillor Churton. I just want to mention too that a lot of the questions I've had is, where does the revenue from this water go? Yep. And I think that we publicly have to ensure that it does go back into the water system.
For sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Absolutely.
Which could eventually lower water rates but not at 1%. It's not going to. But I mean, it is definitely going into the water.
CAO White.
Yeah, this was never, if I may, this was never a revenue or a selling water issue for the staff. We responded to a request, and frankly, when you look at it, the staff need policy. We need a policy and direction, so that we don't want a situation where water had to be provided. The ORL made that decision, and council doesn't have any idea, now that we've pointed this big lens at it, that why it's going or what amount is going to. So we do need a policy, and I have no issue with posting the policy on our website and making it available to anyone who wants to see it. And I think it is. Yeah, I agree with what, the mayor's decision restricting it to within Minto. Well, are you talking about within the water users or the township boundaries because the urban or rural people may need it too. And it should be to the closest in need. So if it's a road in Howick Township that is under construction and they need bulk water to keep the dust down, then they're paying a premium for our water, but it's the closest available supply. So they're not driving to Mount Forest to get it; they're getting it at the closest area. So those are the judgment decisions that our ORO can make. And we do need a policy. We can make the 0.275 much lower if you wish, but to half that amount, so there's less water taken. But I think now that we know what we know and we've heard from the public, we do need direction in policy, and we can change that 0.725 to something lower if you want. And the other thing is that our recommendation includes, and I'll read it, remove water restrictions for all Minto customers except as may be required during emergency, drought, or other conditions identified by the overall responsible operator. So
Yeah.
that person's charged with running our system, and they know when we would need to go back to restrictions or not. And if we did do that, there would be no bulk water taken at all.
Yeah, so I think we're going to bring this to a close.
Well, okay.
I have a motion, if you wish.
Okay,
Can I
so
just make one more comment?
yes, go ahead, Councillor
My
Caldwell.
only last concern is that order of priority here. If Brights comes in and we have the 180 load restriction and they take 160 of it, we don't have that bulk water available that is to be used in all of these circumstances that you're saying that may be used. And that's my concern, is they'll know to be in here January 2nd to make sure they've got that water verified for the year. That's my only thing.
If I may, just in response to that, I mean, that's a fair point. I think the ORO would make that decision. And I don't think they would be like they have to apply and come and take it within a certain period. They can't just get a commitment to it in January
for the year.
So they'll apply each time, and then they take the water when they need it. They can't reserve it, and there's no exclusivity with this to anyone. So, and if the ORO doesn't think it's being used in the right fashion, then the ORO can deny it. You're not under any obligation, it says in the policy, to supply it to anyone if the ORO does not want to supply it.
I think it's been a great process. I mean, we had a request from a customer. It came in, we've discussed it, and I think time and time again, this council has proven that we're very flexible. We'll look at things, our CAO and our mayor and our staff. We look at it, we come up with a good solution, and now we're going to talk about it. And now I think we're going to delay it for a couple of weeks and think about it again and talk to our people. So have we got a motion?
That would be my motion. I would make a motion that we defer this to our next council meeting, and I guess we could defer the recommendation. And along with that deferral, I would ask that our staff try to market this, if, I don't know a better way of saying it, get it out to our community somehow, put it on our website, through an email process, however we do it. Can we let the people know this is where we're at, the recommendation we're doing, probably through the press. I see they're fairly busy, or he's fairly busy putting it together. And then in that process, in that time, we could probably also ask them to talk to any council members or call into the staff if there's still concerns at what's going on. And at that time, we may have a better idea. So that'd be my
That was a really
all that in one. My motion is we market
Defer
it.
it.
And defer it.
Okay. Councillor Anderson?
I would just like to make a point. I understand you need a policy to allow the staff to handle the situation. I find it very complicating and conflicting for me to tie the two together. I will not vote for selling water to anybody. I will vote against it. I'll vote for a policy that gives the staff the knowledge on how to handle it. If we need bulk water, we need it in Minto. It stays in Minto. It doesn't go out to other communities as far as I'm concerned.
CAO White.
Just and a motion to defer is not up for debate. So
Yeah. As soon as he made that, we're done.
So
I need a seconder.
yeah, we need a seconder for to defer this recommendation.
To your right. You're not looking to
Sorry.
your right. You never look to your right. You have to start hitting you.
Councillor Caldwell, we have a seconder. So, Annaline, have you got that all clear?
Have you referred to the next campaign as well? Staff market the information to community members, let people know what they were looking
Yeah, so it's going to be communication and information.
Yes.
Everybody understand the motion?
Encourage people to respond.
I mean, we don't have a full council chambers today.
Surprising.
Surprising, yeah, for the number of calls that we did have. But we are going to consider this. So everybody understand the motion? All in favor of the motion? Against the motion? That's carried. Thank you very much, and I'll pass the chair back to our mayor.
Yeah, and I think what we'll do is the public meeting. I'm not going to go through the rest of it because I got everybody sitting here.
Sure, it's up to council.
It's up to the council, but can I ask you for that?
Yeah, do you need a motion?
What?
Motion to
What is
waive
the
the
motion?
rules of
Well,
procedure.
we're just basically going to go back to the public meeting at 5 o'clock because
Yeah,
it's
we
quarter
should.
after,
Yes.
and not go through the rest of the agenda until,
Yeah, you can do that.
because we got a
Exactly
couple
what we
people
should
that are
do.
traveling, and
You don't need to.
you don't need a
You're,
motion. I
you're
don't
still
think.
a committee of the whole. And
All right.
I'm gonna
So-
turn around. Challenge. I'm kidding.
that's
All right, so we're going to do the public meeting now, so we can get it going. Sorry, we usually get these things timed perfectly. Usually it'd be like 5 to not 5. We would be right into the public meeting, but
We had a couple of controversial
somehow we had a
topics.
couple tough ones today. Anyway, so this is a public meeting to consider amendment of the Town of Minto zoning bylaw number 0186 for property located on concession 1, part lot 24, RP 60 R 11700, former town of Palmerston, town of Minto, located on Minto Road in the Palmerston Industrial Park. I will act as the chair of the public meeting. I will call the meeting to order and request any member of the public present to please sign the attendance record. Nobody's here. Here to state the following: if a person or public body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the town of Minto before the bylaw is passed, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision of the town of Minto to the Ontario Municipal Board, and the person or public body may not be added as a party to the hearing of the appeal before the board unless, in the opinion of the board, there are reasonable grounds to do so. I'll now call on CAO Clerk White to state the municipal address and legal description of the property and the purpose and effect of the application and the date notices were sent.
Thank you, Mayor Bridge. Property subject of the proposed amendment is located at concession 1, part lot 24, plan 60 R 11700, former town of Palmerston, town of Minto, located on Minto Road in the Palmerston Industrial Park. The purpose of the amendment is to rezone the subject lands and expand the site-specific provisions of the M130H zone to permit an aquaculture use. Initially, the proposal would proceed on well and septic systems with eventual connection to municipal services. Other zoning relief may be considered for the proposal where appropriate. Notices were mailed to property owners within 400 feet or 120 meters of the lands and to applicable agencies and posted on the property May 15th. Comments were received from the town of Minto staff, and the building assistant's report is attached. Building assistant is here. Linda Redmond, manager of planning and environment for the county of Wellington, and her report is attached. And to my knowledge, there are no other correspondence received.
Sorry, I also received an email from Amanda Heseltine today at 3:40 p.m. So I'll read that
Okay, well, okay.
when that opportunity comes.
Yes.
Sorry.
Did you not tell the CEO of that?
We're in
She
here.
was CC'd on the email. Sorry, I just got it.
Okay, all right, sorry, I'm just
I have
kidding.
to shut my phone off here.
So, well, you can actually.
Good one.
I think, yeah, we have to shut our phones off just so our mics work. Actually,
How many mics we
that's
got?
a the town. We're doing that right now. So if you want to come up, are you going to do your
Would you like
report?
me to read it?
Okay, I'll bring it. Yeah, come on up and you might as well read it at that point, and then
Get those emails on your iPad, you know, bro.
yeah. Do you want Bill to read it? Okay. Nobody's seen this, so I'm sure it's really nice.
I have major concern. This is from Amanda Heseltine. Her address is 332 Jane Street in Palmerston.
Mm-hmm.
I have major concerns for my health as I have life-threatening allergy to shrimp. I moved here less than a year ago to come to a small town where that wouldn't be an issue. I've spoke to my allergist and she has spoken to me, and we have talked, and we have some concerns that it could pose a risk to my health from even airborne bacteria and protein that can be emitted into the air. It's also a giant risk of the staff not properly hand washing and coming out of the community with dirty hands, and then I can touch something. This is a very serious concern for me, and I don't want to have to uproot my family and my job to move because of this. My daughter has special needs, and this is our first time moving in her life, and she is fitting in school just perfectly and hate to disrupt their life. There are so many health concerns that it makes me feel very unsafe to still in this community with something that could kill me. If there is no way past this, then maybe we could put up a berm or a mound or some construction to help the protein in the air and not get to me. This is very concerning and scary for my family. We may have to leave, or that I can end up ill or dead. Thanks.
Okay. All right.
Wow.
Wow, that's a lot of science that we have to figure out. Okay, thank you. You want to come up now? Well, Linda and you both. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. I had you down first. You can go up together. Why don't you go up together? How's that sound?
Yeah.
Put in an extra chair.
Oh, we have 3 people. That's right. Yes. Well, welcome, Linda, in your new role. This is your first time you've been up in your new role.
I think so. I don't know.
No, it is.
Is it? Oh,
Congratulations.
Officially? Yes,
Congratulations.
thank you.
Yeah.
Well, then, on that note, if I can just,
Sure.
I'd like to introduce Curtis Marshall. He is the new senior planner working with me. He's the new me. So you will start to see him in coming to council. The new me.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, thanks for coming up, Curtis. Yeah. Good. Okay.
Okay. Did you want to go ahead, Stacy, or?
Why don't you go first?
Okay.
Well, I mean, this is the council's already seen this
Yeah.
this proposal. Mr. White presented it a while ago, so this is us now coming back with the amending bylaw as requested.
Yep.
And basically, we have no concerns with it at all. And in fact, when we were reviewing it, we felt that the actual use would be permitted as an agricultural use.
Okay.
The aquacultural use. Basically, the need for the zone amendment is to address the servicing requirements for this use.
Right.
So that's been included in the amending bylaw to allow the use to be on private septic and well. And I just also want to point out that when we were formulating the bylaw and trying to figure out the schedule for it, we decided not to, and council can just change this if they want, but we decided not to restrict this use to the site in question. In fact, we added it as another permitted use under the M1-30H because we felt that the aquacultural use really does fit in with, the agricultural only provisions, and, maybe another shrimp operation or lobster or crab or whatever. If that came along, then they're already, the zoning is in place to accommodate that.
Well, I think I like that better. Yep. Yep.
Okay.
What you, Bill? You're my planner.
I think they're doing an excellent job.
I know. There you go.
If I may, Mr. Mayor, just to the issue of allergy, and we should deal with the professionals here right now, but the concern about allergies was not new to me. I don't know if it was the same person. I imagine it was. They did call me and ask for information, and I did ask, I believe, for her to email me so that I could get some stuff from the developer. So I do have a developer's response on allergies for later if you wish to.
Okay, and I would think that we'd want to make sure that she had got a response. I didn't know you were ahead of the game on that. That's
Wow,
good.
I'm impressed.
I'm impressed with that because that was news. Okay, good. And now, Stacy, do you have anything? Any questions for Linda? Oh, you're good. Okay, go ahead, Stacy.
Okay, I just wanted to note, obviously, in addition to what Linda said, basically our comments are exactly in line, but we're going to require site plan approval prior to construction, obviously, to address any of the issues that we see there. Also, upon comments from Public Works in relation to municipal water and sewer, I did a thorough review of the newly passed water and sewer bylaws, and I have a very specific outline of where both the water and sewer bylaw would allow council, to exempt certain properties based on that. So if you have any questions in relation to that. It would also allow us to monitor their usage.
Right.
The water and sewer department both recommend that some kind of a specific servicing agreement is in place in relation to that, to regulate it and monitor and test it in relation to consumption, discharge at certain times, and also billing for the purpose of billing. Because they're concerned that if they're using a lot of water from a well and then discharging into our sewage system, that not only capacity but also billing could be an issue.
Right. So we're covering that.
Thank you, Mayor Bridge. Stacy, you alluded to the exemption for the bylaw for water and sewers. Is there anybody else in Minto that has that exemption?
At this time, I'm not aware of anyone. I don't think so. There are unserviced or only partially serviced residential lots in Hairston that are on septic, but not on town water, but septic system, and same in Clifford. But the mandatory connection is only required where services are available. So obviously there is no sewer line down those streets, so they can't hook into the municipal sewer system. So this is kind of a unique situation because it's my understanding that even when services do become available, that they still want to use some of those private servicing for the aquaculture, specifically to avoid the chemicals in the distribution system. So it's somewhat unique.
But on that, they have in our agreement they have to hook up once we're there.
Right.
But they would still be able to use the private well water for the actual breeding
but
stuff.
The processing
would be back onto our town. So that was one of the things. And I think that's the difference between, allowing people not to hook up that are stuff's going by. This is one of those rare occasions where we don't have it, and it works out nicely to go out into that area.
Right.
I'd love.
Perfect.
Any other questions? Because my computer just quit on me. I'm out of battery, so the council is over.
I'm down to 6, so you better hurry up.
Sorry. That's all right. I got it here anyways. Any other questions? Okay. Did you want to read the?
If I can, this is from Ranjan Pradam, who was the proponent and applicant. And the reason I didn't bring it forward is because I did not receive anything from the person with that concern. So I had asked him to have something ready in case it did come up, and here we are. So, shrimp allergy. Shellfish is one of the major food allergens, and however its consumption is increasing worldwide. It is important to distinguish between shellfish allergy and toxicity, as their presentations can mimic each other. Tropomyosin has been identified as the major allergen in the shellfish family and is responsible for the most cross-reactivity observed. Patients who have immunodeficiency should only eat cooked shellfish due to the risk of severe infections from ingesting raw shellfish contaminated with infectious organisms. The effort of Shrimp Canada is in fact for producing safe shrimp locally to limit the amount of shrimp with those potentially carry toxic chemicals from the source. The primary management of shellfish allergy is avoidance. In general, management of any food allergy is basically strict avoidance based on proven clinical reactions and not mere sensitization. Because of cross-reactivity, avoidance of all crustacean is generally advised. In addition to strict adherence, patients who have severe reactions should be advised to wear a medical alert identification and be trained in using EpiPen autoinjector. Because future reactions may be more severe, some physicians tend to prescribe EpiPen autoinjections to most food allergic subjects. Workplace safety. The facility at Palmerston will not directly sell any ready-to-eat products to the public. The facility at Palmerston will be for farming and growing shrimp, initially to produce and supply fresh raw shrimp to further processing by the buyer. The facility will be further expanded to processing and packaging of fresh raw shrimp in the future. The premises will be practicing as a biosecurity facility with the allergen and alert signs and will inform all employees and visitors of the risk inside the premises. Solid waste from the farm will be segregated organic waste and will be processed as organic food waste. On-site anaerobic digestion or inactivation or disinfection of the waste will be carried out as necessary for further disposal. Any exposure to the public in general is not expected. Adequate measures and care will be taken for the employees working at the site. That's it.
So that was fairly thorough, but I'm not sure that they covered. Is there an odor from this plant, or is there anything airborne we have to worry about? Like, I think biosecurity, I'm quite comfortable with that. There will be lots of that.
In our discussions with them, I didn't think that ever, whether we actually pointed that out. I can't see an airborne thing really, but I don't think we've had that discussion. Gene?
I would suggest that in the description, he's talking about processing and selling raw shellfish there. The issue with aerosolization of it comes with cooking generally.
Well, that's true.
So if
Yeah,
it's just raw product and selling it in the hatching process, I don't imagine.
I don't know how there would be any kind of.
Conceivably come when you get down to the processing part. And if the person is that allergic to shellfish, they're well aware of that, and I'm assuming they have an EpiPen and a bracelet, because I mean, it is a profound allergy. Yep. Once it's been triggered, it's pretty impressive. But they would know how to handle it.
Yeah, I'm not aware of any kind of way this would have airborne stuff. And
he seems to have done his homework there and has a good response.
So I think we'll just cover that off if that's all right. We'll make sure we send all that information. If there's more information gathered, we can, particular to airborne stuff, we can maybe find out, Bill, from them and send that to our taxpayer and sort of hopefully. It's a tough thing to have allergies, I know, and you know, for her, obviously very fearful.
Yeah, anything I just Google's my friend, and it's all talking about the steam.
Yeah, from
it, from
cooking it. Yeah, if you're walking into it like a
restaurant,
like a sushi,
for instance,
or I mean for sure, whatever, that you just wouldn't go near it.
No,
that would be the thing. Okay, any other questions for our panel up here? Or okay, then I think I've called on the agent. I've called on everybody else. So I will now call anyone who wishes to comment in opposition. We just did that. Okay, I think I'll just declare, state if you wish to be notified of a decision of council of the town of Minto in respect to the proposed zoning bylaw amendment application, you must make a written request to the clerk of the town of Minto at 5941 Highway 89 Harrison, NOG 10, or by email at bwhite@town.minto.on.ca. There's no further comments. I will now adjourn the public meeting. There you go. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, so now, where am I here?
Okay.
I have to go to my Cole's notes here. I think I'm turning it over to you now, Councilor Caldwell. I think I'm out of juice here, so I don't know.
And I can't, for some reason, get to my
together here.
Share?
Oh, I got this too. So.
Here comes Gordon.
You have a cord?
And the Finance
Have a
Committee
cord,
has
yeah, we
4
can plug this
items on the agenda tonight.
Nobody's listening.
Extension.
No, it doesn't matter.
Extension cord there.
Just give
me time
I
to
got
find
Bill.
it.
I got this one here with.
Get your juice stuff here yet.
Bye, Linda. Nice meeting you.
Bye, Linda.
Bye.
Nice meeting you, Chris.
That's Curtis.
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 Chris is over here.
I said Curtis. You should Chris's voice. I got it wrong already.
See you, Chris.
That's only your first night, right? We'll have a nickname by the time you come back.
Just give that poor guy a new name.
No, there's not much left. I guess.
There's no.
Okay.
All right, we're plugging in.
Gordon, somebody
Get some
make
power
I didn't
bars
realize.
built into our desk.
Yeah, that's right.
somebody make marks on your lawn.
Thinking.
Yes.
We're up and running almost.
I need to charge
gonna
my
be
iPad
complaining.
before the meeting. Maybe that was. I had 53% when I came.
I called
Some
property
things have to be said.
standards.
Oh yeah, we could
So I
if you
will
want, but
turn
he has
the-
to wait for Gene.
My fault. Totally my fault.
I will turn the meeting over to Treasurer Duff
All
to
right.
talk about the minutes of settlement and assessment adjustment.
Okay, thanks. Lots of exciting things to end the meeting with here. So, first up is the minutes of settlement. So that's when someone does an appeal to the assessment review board, and it's a large amount, but it's basically one property, and it was carried back to 2012. So we've got 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16 here, and then Janet will have to do an adjustment for 2017 as well in this current year. So our share of the 47,310 is 14,176. And our tax collector has discussed this one with the county tax analyst, and they've signed off on it. So
Can't do
I
much
guess
about it.
no.
That's the bottom line.
Bottom line.
Can I ask a
Yeah,
question?
certainly.
Is there not a statute of limitations? Do they not have to have that done within so many months of an appeal?
Well,
That's awful.
it's a bit like Revenue Canada. It depends on the way it goes. Like if we miss an assessment, we can only go back 3 years. So if they've got a house and it's 5 years old and it gets assessed this year, we've lost 2 years. However, these ARBs, and if you remember, we had a really huge one, and the gravel pits and all that, it like back to 2008 and all that. So, as long as they get the appeal, and as long as the decision of the tribunal is accepted, they can go back.
Wow.
Okay, the recommendation is the council receives the May 2017 report from the treasurer and tax collector regarding assessment adjustments, and that these adjustments are approved. May I have someone make that motion? Councillor Turton, seconded by Deputy Mayor Faulkner. All in favor? And the motion is passed. And our next item is on Section 357
Right.
applications.
So these are the basically physical changes to the property, and there's several of them, but they're much smaller. The total tax is $17.35, and our share is $6.14. So that's removal of a house or a barn or structure, and we can generate them internally.
Is there any questions? Moved by Mayor Bridge,
I'll second it.
seconded by Councillor Elliott. All in favor? And the motion is passed. Then we move on to approval of accounts. Now this one you've got to listen to a minute.
He listened to the last one. He didn't listen to the last one.
There you go.
Okay.
I think we burned them out on the
it's all
other
taxes,
issues
but
here.
still.
So anyway.
It's a lot of money.
Anyway, the highlights there. Admin looks high, but it includes a $70,000 debenture payment and also the $36,000 purchase of the land in Clifford at Allen and Elora. So take that away and we're back to pretty much normal. We had an inspection on one of our fire trucks for about $10,000. We're doing some sewer work in Clifford there, so with phosphorus flushing of about $22,000. And we're doing some of the small upgrades to the arenas and that, change rooms and some plumbing and countertops, and that totals about $9,000. So those are kind of the
Can I
highlights.
just ask with the large amount in roads, what roads are we working on currently?
Well, the majority thing for roads, I guess under Public Works, that's at Foster Flushing, yeah. So that's $22,000. We also bought a barrier. Such a soggy spring, I know our roads foreman suggested that we purchase a barrier, which would kind of take the place of sandbags, and you could roll it out faster and be reusable. That was about $7,400. The other road work, I think basically we're just doing some sidewalks and some paving. Yeah.
Sweeping.
Okay. Street sweeping, yeah. Just kind of typical of the beginning of the construction season.
Okay, is there any other questions? Recommendation is the council of the town of Minto receives the treasurer's report dated May 30th regarding approval of accounts and approves the town of Minto accounts by department for May 2017. Deputy Mayor Faulkner, seconded by Councillor Dirksen, all in favor, and the motion is passed. And the final item on the finance committee is the Clean Water and Wastewater Fund transfer payment.
Okay, this is one I'm pleased to bring forward. This is our application for the George Street project. I kind of reproduced one of our CEO's prior reports, just to remind you, because it has been a while. Anyway, we put the application in last October, I believe, and it's made its way through the province and up to the federal government and back down again. So we received a letter a couple of weeks ago, and it went through as planned. And again, this is the unique one where we know the amount of money up front, roughly 750,000, but we didn't know if we were going to get it or not. So now that that's been approved, you may recall in our capital budget we proceeded as if we would get it. So now we don't have to change the capital budget, and it will include the $250,000 in borrowing. And I have inquired with about 5 local treasurers, and nobody seems to be borrowing too much. So I will check with the county a bit more.
The county is going to have to borrow in the fall. So
yeah, so I'd like to speak to Ken. He wasn't at the last meeting I was at. So
okay, no, I'm pretty positive. We're borrowing there's a couple of projects. Well, we have to borrow for the library. We have to borrow for a few other things. So they're definitely going out in the fall for money.
So we'll check the rates and expenses. So it'll either be through the county or through Infrastructure Ontario. So anyway, this is very good. And as far as we can tell, this program will be in again for this fall because they made a commitment to multi-year funding, and we have a whole list of projects. We no problem coming up with that, and we'll bring that to you again too. So
yes, Mayor Bridge.
Well, at FCM, or Federation of Canadian Municipalities, we talked about this program. One of the things we were talking about, and there was lots of discussion. I think you probably heard it, Mary Lou, if you had a chance. Is not very happy with the process in the sense it's taken this long to get an approval. So they're going to really work hard with the federal government going forward on if we're having trouble with the provinces. In fairness, what happened is a lot of the provinces hadn't really committed to their proportion that they wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And because this program is embedded now, and so it's there, and there's $2 billion in it,
right.
And going for the next 10 years. So I'm hoping that we can get $1 million project a year and we work on it, whatever. So we have to come to figure out that going into the fall process and our budgeting process. And I know where the chair of finance will be looking at that as well. But this is a great opportunity, and very seldom we get that 3/4 of the money.
Yeah, it's now, excellent. Yeah.
Now the other thing that they were still talking about and they're working on is the stacking. So I'm really hoping that we get some more stuff on the stacking, because both the chair of finance and myself both are concerned about down the road there'll be a point where we may not be able to put our hand up and get money because we don't have it. And we're not alone in that. And one thing we hear big time from FCM is the federal government to tell them that we really need help at the lower tier level at the smaller communities, because we may not be able to come up with our 25%. So I think that continues to be part of the process, and we'll continue to push hard on that.
Right. Yeah, and you've got the whole incremental capital spending required under federal gas tax.
Right.
And I did hear an update from Municipal Affairs, and I'm sure a lot of municipalities, our own, I know we've got the tender in the works, and we hope to bring it forward very quickly. But still, there's only so many contractors.
Yeah.
Being a soggy spring, so I think we will proceed to request an extension, because it still has March 31st, 2018, which basically means
I think you'll be fine on that.
We talked about that as well.
Yeah, I think so many municipalities are in the same boat with that.
Exactly. Yes, Councillor Jordan.
Thank you, Councillor Caldwell. So when we're asking for an extension, what do we? So we want to be able to put the final code in in the spring of 2018.
Exactly.
What do we ask? A couple of months? 3 months? 4 months?
I think it's designed for a year. So I think you asked for March 31st, 2019.
Yeah, that's what it says.
Yeah. And
I just wondered about
and
that.
so you've got the final coat of paving.
Mm-hmm.
There may be some other deficiencies. There may be, if we get a soggy fall, then there's some work that you can't done. So, if you give it till March of 19, again, effectively, that's the fall of 18. So,
but that could run into the next round.
Yes. Yeah.
Are there any other questions or comments? Then the recommendation is the council receives the June 1st, 2017 report from the treasurer and a bylaw authorizing signing of the transfer payment agreement be considered in open session. Councillor Turton, Mayor Bridge, all in favor? And the motion is passed. And I turn the chair back to Mayor Bridge.
I'll turn it over to Councillor Turton.
Thank you, Mayor Bridge. We have one item on Public Works today, actually two, but we're going to deal with one with our roads foreman, Michael McIsaac. And Mike, go ahead.
We have another drainage improvement that that's come to light. This is basically sort of the same lines as that last one we had, where the assessment schedules for these 3 drains isn't fair to the property owners. Just in the wording of them. This one here, we're actually, because of the main watershed area combines all 3 drains, we can actually put all 3 of these drains into one single report and correct all these issues. Any questions?
Questions?
That sounds good.
Okay. If there's no questions, then yeah, we'll take a mover by Deputy Mayor Faulkner and our seconded by our mayor. And the recommendation is, we're a little ahead here, but that the council of the town of Minto receives the road foreman's report dated May 23rd, 2017 regarding the municipal drain petition and improvement under section 78 of the Drainage Act, and appoints Dietrich Engineering Limited to represent the town's interest in regards to maintenance of municipal drains number 6, number 13, and number 54. All in favor of that motion? Against? That's carried. Thank you.
So, will that be renumbered? That's my only question.
It probably will. It'll just be number 6 or whatever. Yeah.
Pass the chair back to our mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. And maybe at this time, yeah, go ahead. This time we'll have our county councilor, Dave Anderson. You want to do your report now, David, before we go into turning it over to this other businesses closed? It could take us for days, you know. I don't want to take any of your precious time up by us delaying it longer here on this other. Anyways, thanks for coming.
Thank you, Mayor Bridge. My time is cheap. It's tall time management. Thank you, Council, and Mayor Bridge for the opportunity to speak to you today on behalf of County Council. But I first would like to congratulate the Mayor on being elected to the FCM as a Board of Director again.
Thank you. Thank you all for all your support.
There was a lot of interest. There was like 14 candidates running for 10 positions. So there's a lot of interest out there. So it's nice to have local people that are going to be there representing us rurally. And I think I talked to a lot of your colleagues, and they're pretty happy with the work you're doing. So obviously, you're doing a good job. So you got elected again. So congratulations. I'd like to start off with basically going through my report, and you've got a little copy of it. I'd like to do maybe a couple of upgrades, because as I was going through it this afternoon, I saw a little couple of errors. So I'll tell you where I made errors. This is sort of writing the report up on, I think it was Friday night after a bunch of stuff in Ottawa. So it's a lot of strokes and crannies and
stuff, good stuff.
Yeah, but it's there. It's there. So I'd like to start off with solid waste, which is basically, the acronym is SWS. Through the County of Wellington, in my report, it said that we only collected 63,822 kilograms, but it was actually 170,970 kilograms of waste.
That's a little bit better.
Yeah, a little bit. Like, it was Friday night, and that's through the whole county of Wellington. And so that's a lot of, and this is through our report in 2016 that was brought to County Council. And you know what? Through this, we were able to divert almost 31% of that through many programs that the county has to offer. Through your Blue Box program, through the can and glass recycling, and through the cardboard recycling. And in July 1st of 2016, the county started a mobile household hazardous waste unit that would move around to the different landfill sites and services. And also they set up on 2 of the our highway yards to set up. And what that does is it collects all paint and any sort of things that you can't really throw out. And it really helps to clean out a lot of your garages and stuff that you've been sitting on for months and months and months. So I think what I did was, it was in at our Harrison Waste facility in February, but it's coming back in October. one nice thing about in the county of Wellington is that you don't have to, if it isn't at our site for that month, you can go to any landfill site or transfer station site within the county. It's over at Riverstown Waste Facility in July. So, if you've missed the February date and you've got some stuff, you can take it over to Riverside or any place with the county. So that's kind of a neat thing that's happening. It was very well received. I actually had an opportunity to talk to the young lady that was managing it. It's very well used. So it's another way of diverting.
She lives in Harrison.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
She's a local Mintoite. So it's nice.
Big house just as you're going into the school.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
With
where
all
she is.
the
with all the nice new
landscaping
yeah.
That's lovely. So anyway, so that's kind of nice to have.
Should have said that.
And it's working quite well. Under police services, I did give you a report, and that was our detachment report that was brought forward as of April of 2017. And you'll see a lot of, I identified things that identified we at Minto. Our park enforcement, they're handing out more tickets in Minto, but they're also in all of Wellington County. I think Center Wellington's parking tickets were almost double in price. And what that does is it's an education to people that you're not supposed to park in spaces you're not supposed to park at. And this is just showing that the activities are there and that people are being told that to watch where they're parking. And these numbers are just as of April of 2017. And the numbers that you had were all of 2016. So it just gives you an indication that we're not done yet. So everybody just beware of where you're parking. Car versus deer collisions. Again, in 2016, there was 16 deer collisions in the town of Minto. So far in 2017, we've had up to 11. There's also another area there that is what's happening in the county, and I've broken it out for crimes against property from 2016 to 2017. Again, B&Es are up. Auto theft is up. Theft in general is up, and mischief is up. So it was something that I was able to question our inspector at our last county council meeting, and basically the police can't do it all. They're trying to educate people to make sure that you have your cars locked, to make sure you don't have any valuables in your car parked, make sure your homes are locked, because there's so many people that leave so much open, and it's obviously they're trying to get a handle on it. They're looking at it, but it's more of an education process just to make sure you lock up, or I think it's either lock it up or lose it. I think that was one of the things that they mentioned.
Lock it or lose it.
Yep.
Yep.
And that hasn't changed much. Under the social service program, everything is on schedule over in Palmerston. The completion date for our 11 affordable unit rental unit is in January of 2018. On your document, I indicated that we had over 20 applications, and I made that report at County Council. And so in clarity to that, we've had actually over 20 interested calls of interested parties that would love to rent that.
Yeah.
It actually won't go out to basically advertising until about 6 months before opening. So I did a little bit of a faux pas there. So
it's all right. I followed you up, David, by quoting it too, and that's when I knew it was sort of a little ahead of the game, because they asked me, "Where'd you get that?" I said, "I think Councillor Anderson told me at County Council."
And I did that, and through CAO White, I phoned up our administrator from social services, and we have that corrected.
Okay,
so,
well, but the good news is you can still get one. You just have to. We haven't sent out the application yet.
Exactly, and if you're really interested in it, you can apply within 6 months of January of 2018.
Well, I think we're both in the same wavelength. I know we both know the need is there, and they'll be taken up very quickly.
Huge. Under the museums, one of the things that the county museum is very, very active, and they're always looking for people to donate anything that's old or any memorabilia. And I gave you just a couple of things they took 40 donations already this year in 2017. Anything from World War II uniforms to revolvers to, publications. There was Palmerston, the railway system. They've got photographs and research information right back from 1915. The county will basically preserve them, exhibit them, and anybody that gives donations to the county, they'll give you a tax receipt for the value of those donations. So it's a great way to preserve. It keeps the heritage of the county moving, and they're always very active in putting different exhibits out. So it's a good way to keep our history alive. Under libraries, I also gave you a small report again, and this was our as of 2007 statistics, and I gave you a comparable from 2015 to 2016 between Clifford, Harrison, and Palmerston. Everything, if you average it out, everything is going fairly normal. Attendance in our and this is on usages and items taken into the library and out of the library. A lot of it depends on weather. With good weather and bad weather, it seems like bad weather, your usage is just much more higher than good weather because people are doing other things that are contributing to our libraries. But in all, our library system is going very well. We're being recognized in as a sort of an award. Our library system, we had these hot pockets that we were distributing through the county, and what they would do is you could get a hot pocket out of a library that would basically if you were in a brown-out area or not getting very good reception on Wi-Fi, they would actually give you a better reception. And the county took that on as they get funding from the provincial government for that, and they're being recognized in the city of Chicago as an award through the I think it's the American National Libraries Association. I do believe, George, they're going September, or is it?
I think there's something like that in September. Yeah.
So
we're
being recognized in North America, so that's quite a thing for us to achieve. That's my report, and I'd be willing to take any questions if anybody had any questions to ask.
And just to add, like if you go on the Wellington County, David, you did a nice, concise thing, but certainly the full police report's on there.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to go on the website, the full library report and the museum report. So take advantage of that and read them because there's some really good information.
Good information.
Yeah, and just one other update is we had a little bit of a social media update at the county council, and it's really going well. Our social media program, we're getting a lot of hits on it now. We're getting certainly they had some with the library. Not quite. No, I can tell you now, as the city of Guelph mayor said in his election campaign, that he has 20,000 followers on his Twitter. I believe, Bill, we updated mine today. We're up to 184. I told him to watch out for me because I'm coming on. Very popular. I'm one of. Anyways, so no, we're not going to beat them on that, but not even a year. But thanks very much, and
thank you.
And Dave's always available if anybody needs to talk about county stuff. You can't get it from me.
Yep, you bet. Thanks.
Thanks, David.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Dave.
All right, so now where we're at, back to additional items, and I've got a few people with additional items. Ron, which Ron wants to go?
Well, Ron has spoke for first.
Oh, okay, Ron.
Okay.
Oh no! Well, yes, that's right. We have a film. You want to?
Yeah, I was at when we were at Olsen before our convention. I had mentioned to them that we should probably do a quick synopsis video and send it out to all the councils across Ontario to let people know what it's all about. I said I've been blabbering on about it forever, never really give anybody an opportunity, anybody that's never been at a conference, and have a look and see what's happening. So they did a quick synopsis. This is what happens at our OSIN conferences. Like I said, you're up front and personal, right, and there's 170, 200 people in a room, and you're not looking at a film. You're looking at the guy and you or the girl that was speaking, and you can talk right to them. And our programs are awesome. Awesome. So here's a synopsis of what happened this year, and remember next year it's in Niagara Falls.
Oh, Brian, you're there. I see. Where's Al?
Marford, yeah.
Well, we're here. We're going to be here in Blue Mountains. We're looking forward to tomorrow.
There she is. Patrick Brown.
We want the provincial and certainly federal government to understand the importance of development of Ontario, what it would mean to the economy of the province itself. Wilson province 20 years from now, it'll be a new set of province.
Boy.
Very soon.
Dead.
Teddy. It's a character.
Yeah, he is.
Okay, so that's a quick
Good.
synopsis.
Very
of where
good.
we're
Good
at.
job.
Thank you.
Had a good group there.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to see in pictures what it's all about. And plus, we got the Belindas and such like in the background doing their presentations. That's all done out of one room. You don't break out, and so you have a really good crowd, a really good discussion. So it's a great program, and I hope people want to get involved in it next year, maybe. Another quick thing. We are going to light the bridge in Palmerston again. Harry's Funeral Homes, I'm thinking 8-10 years ago, put the string of lights that are down there, down the middle of it now. Well, they faded and they're very light now. So they're coming down. If you never noticed the lights that were on the big tree in Palmerston, the CN building at Christmas time, it's the same light that's going to go up there and it's going right down the middle of the archway at the top, and then it's going to be a gap, and then the other 50 feet of archway around the curve is going to be lit. And on the bottom, on both sides of the bridge, along the rail, is going to be on both sides. We're going to light them because you can't see it from underneath. So we're putting one on each side, and it's going right the whole length of the bridge. And we have some really talented people putting it together, and there's one of them there, at least. Mike and his staff are putting it on for us. And again, God bless them. And it was quite a bit of money. Heritage Funeral Home are paying for it all.
Wow.
They're gonna pay for it, and our guys are
Very nice.
putting it up for us. And
When's they're lighting up?
we open about a week and a half, and then it'll be lit up all year round.
LED lights.
Yeah, they're very, very nice.
Great.
So I'm
Great
looking
stuff.
forward to that.
Super. Thanks, Ron.
Okay. Thanks, David, for stealing my thunder. Where'd he go? And he disappeared while I was going to give him heck for
He's going
announcing-
home. He's got to make supper.
Yeah, announcing that our mayor got elected to the FCM board, and it was quite a thing to see. I don't know how many voted, but there was a ton of people lined up right out through the hall. The other thing I wanted to mention was that Chief Harrow and Khalees and committee have been working on the master fire plan, upgrading it, and it's coming very close to fruition. So we've had 3 meetings so far, and there should be one final one. So just Khalees and the chief have done a really lot of work on that. So that's my update.
David?
Thank you, Mayor Bridge. I wanted to bring up about the cancer tournament on June 15th, the Frank Kelly Memorial. Mark Harding and Steve Hardy are heading it up, and they're looking for more teams. So
Are they still looking for teams?
Yeah. Thank you.
What's the date on that, David?
June 15th.
And Judy, I think I have.
Yeah, so we're in the month of June, the month that we need another couple of weekends to get it all in. Saturday morning, I attended the Harrison Firefighters breakfast, and it was well attended, and food was fantastic. And then I went to the garden festival, and beautiful weather, and great displays, and so on. And then Leslie's had their Drive One for Your Community, and I believe that went back to the fire department as well. So they had They had a great lineup of Ford vehicles, and I parked mine at the end, but they didn't take it for a test drive.
No.
And and then it was also the Palmerston Farmers Market opening, and they had a crowd. You had to park a block and a half away. So
Really? Isn't that excellent?
yeah, so it was a happening place as well. So this Saturday, we had the grand opening at the Palmerston Railway Museum and the dedication of the books in the book room. There's been a lot of renovations done there. A lot of we shouldn't really call them renovations, I guess. More facelift.
Yep.
Upgrades.
Anyways, yes, and we'll be honoring Carl and Viola Homuth in that room. And also another item that event that's maybe not really well advertised is there is a school reunion in Minto on Saturday. It is for students or teachers at SS 18, which was up here just at the curve before you go to Drew. That was Poplar Grove School. And then also SS number 7, which is Lower Drew, and SS number 9, Upper Drew. And all three of those schools are going together and having a reunion. They had one last year too, and it was really well attended. And so that is at the Drew Community Center. I believe it starts at 11:30 with a 12:30 potluck lunch.
On Saturday.
On Saturday, yes. So if you attended or taught at any of those schools, you would be welcome to attend.
Excellent. Well, you took one of mine. That was good.
Oh,
I mean,
sorry.
no,
Oh,
that's
sure.
fine. That was good because Judy's come on the museum, railway museum board, and that was good to have that. The other thing
you guys
is
were all away.
yeah, we're all away, and thank you.
David and I had to cover off this.
And I thank you very much for doing that covering off because
it was a great morning.
Councillor Anderson and my wife are quite concerned because they're both
We're
the
both gone.
president and the vice president, and they weren't there, and we had a few other people down with injuries. So I was glad that the weather was good and we had good crowds out.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Saturday morning was amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a really nice morning.
that's good. And and we're looking forward to the 10th, and then on the 24th of June we have the handcar races and the party in the park, which I thought Ron might mention, but he didn't mention it.
Well, I thought I had time.
Yeah, party in the park. So I'll mention it for you. And we need teams. We need teams. We're gonna have to have some kind of team from here. So let me know. And car races.
I'm available.
You'll be a timer. You'll be able to time us.
We have a wedding that
Oh, I
day,
imagine
so
I can
we
help.
will not be-
Yeah, good.
I should be around.
All right. So we're gonna have a team, and we'll get back to you when practice time is and all that stuff. But we're looking forward to it.
911 goes on Sunday too.
And I just one other comment I'd like to make. I was really pleased that a bunch of you could come down to FCM and support me, and it makes it's a lot. Even the county, I didn't have many the year before. I think there was only 3 of us in Winnipeg, so I felt really blessed with the number of people we had. And not only you were there handing out stuff. You were talking to people all week, and I hope you had a good time.
And we cheered.
And it is something that when I went into it last year, I kind of went in with this idea that I'm going to be this rural voice and everything. When you get there, you realize that, and I think what I'll do is I'll put it on a future one. I'll bring you a FCM report on what the Rural Caucus is about and what we're doing in the Rural Forum and all the neat things for rural that it can be done. Because you have to understand, you met them. There's over 2,000 municipalities, around 2,000 municipalities, 1,968 or something, I think they said in the last.
That's around 2,000.
And 92% of the population of Canada represented. But, we have people with 185 people in their town, and we have, it's just amazing to hear them and talk to them, and they got the same issues. But we do have a voice with the federal government, and we're getting some results. So I will bring a report back to the next one, Bill, and talk a little bit about it. Because there's some exciting things that we're working on. So I hope everybody had a good time, and thank you very much for all your help and support.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And that's all I got. So, you have to make a movie around here. Moved by Deputy Mayor Faulkner, seconded by Councillor Caldwell, that the Committee of the Whole convenes the regular council meeting. All in favor? Thank you. Moved by Councillor Elliott, seconded by Councillor Dirksen. The Council of the Town of Minto ratifies the motions made in the Committee of the Whole. All in favor? Moved by Councillor Anderson, seconded by Councillor Turton, that the bylaw number 2017-45 to authorize execution of the agreement with Her Majesties, the Queen, in right of Ontario as represented by the Minister of Infrastructure, Clean Water and Wastewater Fund be introduced and read first, second, and third time and passed on by Council seat of Corporation. All favorites?
This says as amended, and it's been signed by the people who.
Okay, good. Moved by Councillor Caldwell and second by Councillor Elliott that bylaw number 2746 to authorize the mayor and clerk to execute a fire service agreement between the Corporation of Town of Minto and the Corporation of the Township of Howick as amended, signed by two people, be introduced and read first, second, and third time and passed on by Council seat of the Corporation. All in favor? Moved by Councillor Dirksen, second by Deputy Mayor Faulkner, bylaw number 2017-47, temporarily closed roads in Clifford on August 5th, 2017 for a community event be introduced, read first, second, and third time, passed over to Council. Seal Corporation. All in favor? Moved by Councillor Caldwell, second by Councillor Turton, bylaw number 2017-48 to amend the zoning bylaw number 0186 by adding a new permitted use for agricultural aquaculture production be introduced and read first, second, and third time and passed over to Council. Seal the Corporation. All in favor? Moved by Councillor Turton, second by Councillor Elliott, bylaw number 2017-49 to confirm actions of the Council of the Corporation of Town of Minto respecting a meeting held June the 6th, 2017 be introduced and read first, second, and third time and passed over to Council. Seal the Corporation. All in favor?
That's what I have to do.
Moved by Councillor Caldwell, second by Deputy Mayor Faulkner. The Council of Town of Minto adjourned to meet again at the call of the mayor. All in favor? Thanks for a good meeting, everybody.